Chapter 733. The sword in Kong Yin concubine's hand danced, while Tang Ao also raised the primordial sacred heaven bow in his hand. Moreover, after Tang Ao used the primordial sacred heaven bow in close combat, the two ends of the primordial sacred heaven bow actually became abnormally sharp. When the primordial sacred heaven bow swept past Kong Yin concubine's shoulder, Kong Yin concubine's dress was also cut open. A large patch of snow-white skin was revealed, which made Tang Ao's heart heat up. Although the scenery was extremely beautiful, Tang Ao still calmed down very quickly. The scenery in front of him wasn't a peaceful lotus, but a rose filled with thorns. After her dress was cut open by Tang Ao, Kong Yin concubine became even angrier. The frost feather sword in her hand could only shoot out cold sword shadows. If it wasn't for Tang Ao's 2 lifetimes and rich battle experience, he would have already died under Kong Yin concubine's sword. But even so, Tang Ao's situation wasn't optimistic, and he was constantly being suppressed by Kong Yin concubine. Fortunately, Tang Yu roared and an earth-shattering cold energy enveloped Kong Yin concubine. After this cold energy enveloped Kong Yin concubine, sharp icicles shot towards her. Seeing that Tang Yu grasped the timing so well, Tang Ao rejoiced. However, the next scene shocked Tang Ao. Kong Yin concubine put away the Shinnong cauldron and made a few hand seals before throwing it into the air. Thereafter, the Shinnong cauldron released thousands of light rays and protected Kong Yin concubine. The ice spikes that were constantly condensing in the surroundings all crashed into the light barrier, but were all blocked by it. Tang Ao had obtained the Shinnong Emperor for such a long time, but he didn't know that the Shinnong cauldron could be used like this. This woman was simply too terrifying. Tang Ao sighed in his heart. Icicles continued to condense in the ice mist before shooting towards Kong Yin concubine with extreme sharpness. But no matter how many icicles there were, they were all blocked by the Shinnong cauldron's light barrier. While the Shinnong cauldron's light barrier was blocking the icicles, Tang Ao didn't stay idle. A majestic aura continuously gathered on the primordial sacred heavenly bow. When Kong Yin concubine sensed this aura, her heart thumped. She was too familiar with this feeling. Every time she used her frost feather sword to lock onto someone, she would have this feeling. She was too familiar with this feeling. Every time she locked onto someone with a concubine feather sword, she would feel it. This time, she wasn't using her frost feather sword to lock onto someone. Shinnong Cauldron. Following this, Kong Yinfei sent out several seals, and the Shinnong Cauldron also released a vast and ancient power. Under this vast aura, Tang Yu's ice mist was completely dispersed, and the countless icicles that had yet to be shot out also instantly fell to the ground. The primordial sacred heavenly bow in Tang Ao's hand trembled. Thereafter, a profound heaven arrow shot towards Kong Yin concubine like a shooting star. After shooting this arrow, Tang Ao felt a sweetness in his throat. He coughed out a mouthful of blood. Tang Ao didn't hold back in this arrow. The injuries that he was forcefully suppressing just now had completely erupted at this moment. Rumble, Kacha, Kacha. The instant the profound heaven arrow and Shinnong cauldron clashed, a terrifying shockwave spread out in all directions. Tang Ao could clearly see cracks appearing in the space around the Shinnong Emperor and the profound heaven arrow. Tang Ao felt that if he shot another profound heaven arrow now, he would definitely be able to shatter the space around the snowfield. Chapter 734. After seeing the farmer god cauldron, Tang Ao looked around but couldn't find Kong Yinfei's figure. While Tang Ao was looking for her, Tang Ao suddenly felt a chill on his neck. Tang Ao raised his head and saw Kong Yinfei's prideful smile. At this moment, Kong Yinfei's dress was already in tatters, revealing large patches of her snow-white skin, which was a feast for Tang Ao's eyes. "Does it look good?" Kong Yinfei asked weakly. Tang Ao nodded without hesitation. "Yes." "Then, have you seen enough?" Kong Yinfei squeezed out a smile. At this moment, she felt as if her consciousness was about to dissipate. This kind of scenery, it seems like it's not enough. Then you can see it in your next life. In your next life, pray that you don't see this kind of scenery. Kong Yin Fei waved her sword, but she was too weak at this moment. The incomparably sharp frost feather sword only left a faint trace of blood on Tang Ao's neck before she fainted in Tang Ao's bosom. At this moment, Tang Ao's body was filled with sword wounds from the frost feather sword. This frost feather sword was indeed worthy of being an 8th grade divine weapon. After being refined by Kong Yinfei, the sword wounds on the frost feather sword were hard to heal even with her jade bone's life soul. After such a long time, the sword wounds under Tang Ao's ribs still hadn't healed. Kong Yinfei fainted in Tang Ao's bosom. Tang Ao only felt as if he was hugging a ball of water, but also a ball of cotton. Tang Ao pinched it twice, feeling that it was incomparably soft. Tang Ao felt an evil qi rising from the bottom of his heart. Tang Ao hurriedly guarded his mind and calmly began to heal. While Tang Ao was healing, Tang Ao was also healing Kong Yinfei. The primordial sacred sky Bao could even injure him, who was at the peak of astral reaching realm. After receiving an arrow, Kong Yinfei's injuries weren't optimistic either. At this moment, Kong Yinfei's life force was continuously fading, and her soul was also slowly dispersing. If Tang Ao didn't save her, Kong Yin concubine would definitely die. However, this Kong Yinfei was too powerful. While Tang Ao was healing her, Tang Ao also kept placing restrictions on her body. Even if Kong Yinfei recovered, she wouldn't be able to use her fate's soul and spiritual energy. After sealing her fate's soul and spiritual power, Kong Yin concubine was just an ordinary person. No matter how powerful he wouldn't be able to cause any big waves. Plop! Tang Yu lifted a piece of ice and climbed out of the pile of snow. Compared to Tang Ao and Kong Yinfei, Tang Yu was barely injured. Seeing Tang Ao hugging Kong Yinfei, Tang Yu froze. It's fine. Her fate's soul and spiritual power have been sealed by me. Put away my farmer god cauldron. After I recover, we'll go to the spatial crack. Tang Ao took out a few pills and fed them to Kong Yinfei. After Tang Ao recovered for 2 hours, Kong Yinfei's beautiful eyes suddenly opened. Seeing that she was in Tang Ao's embrace, Kong Yinfei raised her hand and took out a talisman. Her figure immediately disappeared. After Kong Yinfei disappeared, Kong Yinfei's voice resounded in the air. Tang Ao, you dared to disrespect this lady today. After I recover, I'll come back to settle accounts with you. Tang Ao was in a mess. He was sure that he had sealed Kong Yinfei's fate's soul and spiritual power. But after sealing them, Kong Yinfei actually took out an escape talisman and escaped. Tang Ao couldn't figure out how she managed to activate the escape talisman after sealing her fate's soul and spiritual power. Chapter 735. At this moment, the snow plains were no longer as noisy as before. When Tang Ao first came to the snow plains, he used his soul power to search for treasures. But now, no matter how much Tang Ao used his soul power, he couldn't find any trace of any martial artists. Tang Ao and Tang Yu flew over the snow plains at a low altitude, rushing towards the spatial crack. Although the Shinong Emperor said that the Nether Dragon's imperial aura could break through the spatial barriers of the snow plains, theoretically speaking, the Nether Dragon's imperial aura should be able to break through any spatial barriers in the snow plains. But Tang Ao felt that there had to be a reason why the Nether Dragon's imperial aura had been placed under the spatial crack of the snow plains. Tang Ao guessed that the Nether Dragon's imperial aura might have been exaggerated. No matter how strong the Nether Dragon was, the aura he left behind shouldn't be strong enough to break through the void. Therefore, the Nether Dragon had placed the spatial crack of the snow plains so that he could break through the void and leave the snow plains in the future. Tang Ao and Tang Yu flew through the air without any scruples, which naturally attracted the attention of some cultivators who were hiding in the dark. In a snow cave 300 feet below Tang Ao, a purple-robed youth slowly opened his eyes. In front of this purple-robed youth, there was a ball of purple mist floating. Tang Ao had seen this purple-robed youth before, but Tang Ao thought that this purple-robed youth had perished long ago, so Tang Ao didn't pay much attention to him. Apart from that, Tang Ao also knew that the ball of purple mist floating in front of the purple-robed youth was highly toxic. Zhang Yangxia opened his eyes and glanced at Tang Ao and Tang Yu before slowly closing his eyes. After closing his eyes, the purple mist in front of Zhang Yangxia was slowly absorbed by him. This toxic purple mist was like the best life essence for him. As Zhang Yangxia absorbed the purple mist, his pale face regained some color, and his skin became smoother. After this ball of purple mist was completely absorbed, Zhang Yangxia's figure flashed, and he left the snow cave, arriving on the snow plains. After 10,000 years of waiting, he finally welcomed a new life. 10,000 years ago, something strange happened in the snowfield. A crack appeared in the space of the snowfield, and a strange fluctuation came out of the crack, devouring all the life force of the creatures on the snowfield. Even though Zhang Yangxia was at the 9th level of the life and death realm, under this strange fluctuation, his life force was still slowly being devoured. Fortunately, he had the immortal secret technique. After a part of his vitality was devoured, he sealed the rest of it in the purple mist. Standing on the snowy plains again, Zhang Yangxia sighed with emotion. However, Zhang Yangxia only sighed for a moment before chasing after Tang Ao. This was because he sensed the aura of the Shinnong cauldron on Tang Ao. Other than the Shinnong cauldron, Tang Ao seemed to have other good things on him. Tang Ao's flying speed was extremely fast, but Zhang Yangxia was even faster. It was only because Tang Ao had been flying for a long time that Zhang Yangxia had absorbed all the purple mist. Thus, when he chased after Tang Ao's aura had almost completely disappeared. That was why Zhang Yangxia had gone in the wrong direction halfway. Even though Zhang Yangxia wasn't sure if this was the right direction, he still chased after him without hesitation. At this moment, Tang Ao obviously didn't know that a 9th level life and death realm warrior was looking for him. Thus, although Tang Ao and Tang Yu were flying in the sky, they didn't fly at full speed. Tang Ao's figure suddenly descended, arriving at a kernel. There were many injured warriors in the call, and most of them had low cultivation. Tang Ao scanned the area, and the highest cultivation was only at the 4th level of the Spirit Sea realm. Chapter 736. 2 senior brothers, because of our low power, we have been hiding in this valley all this time. We did not get anything when we were fighting for the treasures before. The highest cultivation, level 4th level Sea of Souls realm young man stood up and held his fist in front of his chest to Tang Ao. Tang Ao was dazed for a second, but he soon realized that these people thought he was here to rob them, but Tang Ao was actually here to tell them to go to the space crack and get ready to leave the snowfield. You do not need to be nervous. Now, you go to this space, and you will be able to leave the snowfield soon. If you run into other warriors in the snowfield, tell them this as well. After Tang Ao finished talking, he threw out a location jade scroll. Then, he was about to bring Tang Yu out of this valley. However, Tang Ao noticed that these people looked happy at first, but then they became cold again. It was obvious that something had happened. Seeing Tang Ao's confusion, the young man who spoke first stood up again and said, "Senior brother, to be honest, all of us have been planted with a life and death worm by Murong Xiao. Murong Xiao asked us to find senior brother Tang Ao in the snowfield. If we could not find senior brother Tang Ao, then we would die. But we came to the snowfield late, so we do not know senior brother Tang Ao at all." Tang Ao's face gradually turned cold. It seemed that Murong Xiao was willing to do anything to find his whereabouts. Murong Xiao had actually controlled the other cultivators in the snowfield to find him. Most importantly, according to Tang Ao's knowledge, the life and death worm did not have an antidote. Although the life and death worm was called life and death, there was only one life and one death. But in reality, after being poisoned by it, there was no other possibility other than death. You can find Morong Xiao. Although Su Ning only had 7 days left, if Tang Ao could find Morong Xiao, it would only take a cup of tea's time to kill him. We don't have any way of contacting Brother Morong Xiao right now. Brother Morong Xiao gave a communication bead to Brother Zhao, but Brother Zhao was killed by a life and death warrior from the Tianyang continent. Therefore, we can't contact Brother Morong Xiao, the warriors said in despair. If they couldn't contact Morong Xiao, it would be useless even if they found Tang Ao. Hearing that they couldn't contact Morong Xiao, Tang Ao also felt a little regretful. If he wasn't in a hurry, a scum like Morong Xiao would definitely be hunted down by him. How much do you know about the life and death worm? Tang Ao didn't continue to ask questions about Morong Xiao. Instead, he was ready to tell them about the life and death worm. A warrior said in a low voice, I heard that the life and death worm has no life. Morong Xiao doesn't intend to let us live at all. How? Didn't Morong Xiao say that as long as we find Tang Ao, he will cure us of the life and death worm? There's no life, a thin young man said with a trembling voice. Oh my God, I just broke through to the Sea of Souls realm. I don't want to die yet. I heard that Tang Ao has a 9th grade divine weapon. Even if we find Tang Ao, Morong Xiao will kill us. After everyone calmed down, Tang Ao said indifferently, as far as I know, the life and death worm is almost unsolvable. Also, I am Tang Ao. If you can find Morong Xiao, you can tell me at any time. Although I can't cure the life and death worm, I can still take revenge for you. After Tang Ao finished speaking, he threw a communication pearl over and left with Tang Yu. You are Tang Ao? You can't leave. A warrior at the 3rd level of the Sea of Souls realm saw that Tang Ao was about to leave. He slammed his palm toward Tang Ao's skull. Chapter 737. Senior Brother Tang Ao, all 46 of our lives are now in your hands. Therefore, I hope that Senior Brother Tang Ao can bear with it and follow us to find Senior Brother Morong Xiao. Yes, it's best if Brother Tang Ao comes with us. Although our cultivation levels are not high, as the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands, and a fierce tiger is no match for a pack of wolves. As long as Brother Tang Ao comes with us, we will definitely not make things difficult for Brother Tang Ao. What if I refuse? If Tang Ao was not in a hurry, Tang Ao would have gone to find Morong Xiao himself. However, Tang Ao could not afford to waste any more time. The snowfield was so big. Who knew where Morong Xiao was? Moreover, these warriors' threatening words made Tang Ao very angry. Refuse? Haha. Tang Ao, you overestimate yourself. Do you think that the person next to you is a warrior from the 9th floor of Linghai Jing can escape from us? The shirtless man raised his hand and sent a flying sword message. After the flying sword message was sent, 4 to 5 beautiful fireworks exploded in different directions in the snowfield. Many figures quickly rushed in that direction. Soon, more than 30 people arrived at the entrance of the valley. This group of people was obviously very close to where they were. That's Tang Ao. Hurry up and inform Brother Morong Xiao. A warrior recognized Tang Ao at a glance and said excitedly, All right, everyone hurry up and trap him. I've already sent a message to Brother Morong Xiao. After this group of martial artists arrived, many more martial artists arrived. There were nearly 200 of them, and they rushed over from 4 directions. Tang Ao originally thought that the warriors on the snowfield had all been killed by the life and death realm warriors from the Tianyang continent, but now he knew that it was not the case. Instead, most of the warriors had become Morong Xiao's dogs. If these people didn't have a way to contact Morong Xiao, Tang Ao would have left immediately. But now that these people could contact Morong Xiao, he would take care of Morong Xiao. The unusual movements of a large number of martial artists on the snowy plains naturally attracted the attention of many people. Shi Hongyi and Lin Yuten, who had already reached the bottom of the spatial rift, naturally sensed it as well. This was because they were not far from the call where Tang Ao and the others were. Senior Brother Lin, something seems to have happened over there. Should we go over and take a look? So many warriors are going there. Could it be that they've encountered life and death realm warriors from the Tianyang continent? Let's go and join in the fun. Tang Ao casually sat down cross-legged as he watched more and more warriors gather around him. Since Tang Ao's cultivation had reached the peak of the 9th floor of Linghai Jing, numbers were no longer a threat to Tang Ao. No matter how many warriors there were, it would be useless. Tang Ao decided to wait here for an hour. If Morong Xiao didn't show up after that, he would leave. As for the nearly 300 warriors there, Tang Ao didn't care about them at all. If he didn't have some skills, he would have been surrounded by these people for no reason. If he waited for Morong Xiao to arrive, he would have died. Therefore, Tang Ao didn't have a good impression of these warriors. If they dared to stop him when he left later, they shouldn't blame him for being rude. Chapter 738. What are you so proud of? When senior brother Morong Xiao comes, you'll be in trouble, a woman at the 2nd level of the Sea of Souls realm said in a sarcastic tone after being forced back by Tang Ao's aura. Tang Ao glanced at her and said indifferently, "No matter how pretty I am, I'm not as pretty as you." The woman obviously heard that Tang Ao was mocking her, so she immediately said to a bald man, "Brother K, he's bullying me, and you're not going to do anything about it." The bald man heard the woman's words and snorted. He looked at the woman with a cold expression, then clenched his fists and said to Tang Ao, "Tang Ao, I've been poisoned by Murong Zhao's life and death worm, so I need your head to live. If you have any last wishes, you can tell me. I'll help you complete them." Tang Ao sneered in his heart, but on the surface, he still asked in surprise, "You'll really help me complete them?" The bald man laughed out loud. "Not bad, not bad. If you have a wife or something, just say it. I won't let her be lonely for the rest of her life." After the bald man said that, the people around him also laughed out loud. Tang Ao's eyes turned completely cold at this moment. "Do you know that there's a price to pay for speaking?" I know. I'll experience the price now." As the bald man spoke, a hanging eyes, white tiger-life spirit was instantly attached to his body. In an instant, the strong man seemed to have turned into a ferocious hanging eyes white tiger, pouncing at Tang Ao. Looking at the bald man pouncing at him, Tang Ao didn't even move. The bald man saw that Tang Ao was so arrogant. Not only did he not dodge his fierce attack, he didn't even fight back. At this moment, he had already regarded Tang Ao as a dead man. Under his sharp claws, he could even imagine the scene of Tang Ao's head exploding under his claws. Tang Ao didn't move, but Tang Yu did. Tang Yu's figure flashed, and he appeared in front of the bald man. Then, Tang Yu threw a punch at the bald man's tiger claw. A breathtaking dragon roar rang out, and the bald man was sent flying by Tang Yu's punch. While flying backwards, the bald man's body continued to freeze. Before the bald man could land on the ground, his whole body was sealed in ice by Tang Yu. Thump! The bald man fell to the ground with a muffled sound. Then, everyone heard a cracking sound as the frozen bald man broke into several pieces. The look of disbelief on his perfectly round head could be clearly seen. Apart from disbelief, there was also endless regret in his eyes. The bald man was a warrior from the 7th floor of Linghai Jing. However, this warrior from the 7th floor of Linghai Jing couldn't even take one move from Tang Yu. Perhaps only a life and death realm warrior could do this. At this time, everyone somewhat understood why Tang Ao dared to stay here without fear. It turned out that Tang Ao had found such a powerful helper from somewhere. With Tang Yu, if Tang Ao and Tang Yu joined forces, they would be qualified to fight against Morong Xiao. Moreover, as long as the two of them were lucky, it was not impossible for them to escape unscathed. Thinking of this, everyone's expression became complicated. They had already offended Tang Ao by leaving Tang Ao here today. Therefore, when Tang Ao and Morong Xiao fought later, everyone decided to rush forward and help Morong Xiao kill Tang Ao. Tang Ao could mostly guess what these people were thinking. However, Tang Ao didn't care at all. He just asked coldly, "How long until Morong Xiao gets here?" Chapter 739. No one knew how strong Tang Ao was, but everyone knew that Tang Yu, who was by Tang Ao's side, was a ruthless person comparable to a life and death realm martial artist. Therefore, they were worried that if Tang Ao was scared and insisted on leaving, they would not be able to stop him even if they wanted to. Fortunately, Tang Ao did not have the thought of leaving when Murong Xiao came. After Murong Xiao came, he waved his hand and hundreds of medicinal pills floated in front of everyone. Then, Murong Xiao said in a clear voice, "Junior brothers and sisters, what I made everyone take before was not a life and death worm, but just an ordinary breath-severing pill. Now that I have found Tang Ao, I will give you the antidote for the breath-severing pill." Tang Ao is a man with a human face but a beast's heart. The 9th-grade divine weapon on him was found by him and his junior sister, Xia Qinyu. At that time, there was not a big disparity in cultivation between him and his junior sister, Xia Qinyu, so he gave the mysterious clear mirror to his junior sister. Later, after his cultivation advanced by leaps and bounds, he actually wanted to snatch his junior sister's mysterious clear mirror. Xia Qinyu met me before she died and told me about these things. She also gave me the mysterious clear mirror, so I want to get rid of this big trouble, Tang Ao. But the snowfield is vast and boundless. If it's just me alone, I'm afraid that I won't be able to find Tang Ao even if I spend my whole life. I have no choice but to use a little trick on everyone. Please forgive me, junior brothers and sisters. Many people knew that Murong Xiao killed Xia Qinyu and snatched her mysterious clear mirror. But now, no one was stupid enough to stand up against Murong Xiao. Therefore, after Murong Xiao finished speaking, everyone pretended to look at Tang Ao with righteous indignation. It seemed that as long as someone took the lead, they would tear Tang Ao to pieces. "Murong Xiao, are you ready to die?" After saying that, golden light flashed out from Tang Ao's body, and he charged towards Murong Xiao. Murong Xiao originally thought that Tang Ao would argue with him before making a move. He didn't expect Tang Ao to be so impatient and make a move as soon as he arrived. After Tang Ao made his move, Murong Xiao naturally wouldn't be polite. Murong Xiao originally wanted to kill Tang Ao. Now that Tang Ao was courting death, it was exactly what he wanted. Compared to Tang Ao, Murong Xiao was more afraid of Tang Yu. Just now, when Tang Yu attacked the bald man, Murong Xiao also saw it. Moreover, Murong Xiao knew that Tang Yu was only at the peak of the 9th floor of Linghai Jing. He hadn't reached the life and death realm yet. However, Tang Yu's strength surprised Murong Xiao, because Murong Xiao could also see it. Although Tang Yu's cultivation was only at the 9th floor of Linghai Jing, Tang Yu's strength was no weaker than a first-level C of Soul's Realm Warrior. Although this little bit of strength wasn't enough to threaten him, Murong Xiao was still shocked by Tang Yu's potential. Murong Xiao thought that when he was on the 9th floor of Linghai Jing, he definitely didn't have the fighting power of life and death realm. Facing Tang Ao's fierce fist, Murong Xiao suddenly slashed out with the freedom blade in his hand. Since Tang Ao was courting death, then he would finish the battle with one move. No matter what, his freedom blade was a 3rd-rank divine weapon. Tang Ao actually dared to use his fist to attack him, so he had to pay the price. The spectators were also stunned. In their minds, it should be Tang Yu going to fight against Murong Xiao head-on, while Tang Ao was waiting for an opportunity to sneak attack. But now, Tang Yu didn't plan to make a move at all, and Tang Ao recklessly rushed up to stand with Murong Xiao. Tang Ao was dead for sure. This was the same thought in everyone's mind. Chapter 740. Kacha Kacha. Murong Xiao's blade aura shattered under Tang Ao's punch. Murong Xiao was shocked and quickly took out the mysterious clear mirror. Tang Ao's 7 green lotus swords fell powerlessly as if they had fallen into a muddy swamp. At the same time, a bucket-thick blade aura from the mysterious clear mirror blasted towards Tang Ao. Before the blade aura could hit Tang Ao, a huge cauldron smashed the blade aura. At the same time, the huge cauldron smashed into Murong Xiao's chest without losing any momentum. A crisp sound of bones breaking rang out. Murong Xiao was sent flying by the Shenong Cauldron. At the same time that Murong Xiao was sent flying, a longbow appeared in Tang Ao's hand. Tang Ao stood in the air and slowly pulled the bowstring. Tang Ao's spirit force frantically rushed into the primordial sacred sky bow. The spirit force in the surroundings was also constantly absorbed by the primordial sacred sky bow. Murong Xiao didn't dare to think how Tang Ao had become so powerful. After taking out a spatial escape talisman, Murong Xiao crushed it without hesitation. Bang! A bloody mist exploded on Murong Xiao's body. Because Murong Xiao activated the escape talisman a bit faster than Tang Ao, the mysterious sky arrow only pierced the lower half of Murong Xiao's body. In the end, Murong Xiao still escaped with half of his body. However, Murong Xiao escaped very pathetically. Other than the mysterious clear mirror, he didn't even have time to collect his unfettered blade. Tang Ao put away the primordial sacred sky bow. His spirit force swept the mysterious clear mirror and unfettered blade into his hands. He then threw them into the chaotic hexlight mirror. The entire battle hadn't even lasted more than 30 breaths, but all the warriors present couldn't wrap their heads around it. Their mouths were wide open as they looked at Tang Ao in disbelief. Oh my God, Brother Murong Xiao couldn't even last 3 rounds. This Tang Ao is indeed a monster. Brother Murong Xiao actually escaped with an escape talisman. If Brother Murong Xiao didn't see the opportunity and activated the escape talisman in time, he would probably die here today. What is Brother Tang Ao's cultivation now? A life and death realm level 5 warrior? If he isn't a life and death realm level 5 warrior, he shouldn't be able to crush Brother Murong Xiao, right? I don't think so. Judging from his spirit force fluctuation just now, Brother Tang Ao should be at the peak of the 9th floor of Linghai Jing. It's just that, because Tang Ao was too monstrous, the warrior who spoke didn't even know what he was talking about. Not far from the battle between Tang Ao and Murong Xiao, Lin Yuten smiled bitterly. Previously, he and Shi Hongyi tried to persuade Tang Ao not to seek revenge against Murong Xiao. Seeing that Tang Ao didn't listen, the two of them thought that Tang Ao was most likely dead. Now, the two of them realized that Tang Ao didn't care about Murong Xiao at all. In the battle between Tang Ao and Murong Xiao, Tang Ao completely crushed Murong Xiao. Shi Hongyi asked in confusion, Brother Lin, judging from the spirit force fluctuation just now, Brother Tang Ao seems to be only at the 9th floor of Linghai Jing. Yes, but the density of his spirit force is far beyond that of a normal life and death realm warrior. If Murong Xiao was more cautious, he wouldn't have been crushed by Tang Ao. It's just that Murong Xiao underestimated Tang Ao too much, which caused him to lose the upper hand in the battle. Later on, he was suppressed by Tang Ao. Compared to the others, Lin Yuten clearly saw more clearly, but even so, he still felt that Tang Ao was very monstrous. Chapter 741. After Murong Xiao escaped, Tang Ao wasn't in the mood to continue talking to these warriors. If he wasn't strong enough, he would have died if he was stopped by these people. Tang Ao and Tang Yu passed through the crowd and walked towards the spatial crack in the snowfield. The spatial crack in the snowfield wasn't far from here. When Tang Ao arrived at the spatial crack, there were already many warriors gathered there. Senior brother Tang Ao. When Feng Ling saw Tang Ao, she walked over. These are the warriors who were with Big Brother Yin before. I gathered them and asked them to inform the other warriors in the snowfield. Now, all the surviving warriors in the snowfield should be here. Tang Ao looked around and knew that Feng Ling was right. All the surviving warriors in the snowfield were gathered here. Even the cultivator who blocked Tang Ao just a moment ago was now following from afar. There was no way out of the snowfield. That was the consensus. Tang Ao wasn't the first to discover this spatial crack. Before Tang Ao, many people had discovered this place. Even Murong Xiao had been here before. However, under everyone's attacks, this spatial crack that looked like it was about to shatter didn't move at all. Hence, everyone gave up on the idea of blasting it open. When they heard that Tang Ao was going to blast open this spatial crack, even though many people were skeptical, they still wanted to come and take a look. Because Tang Ao had a grade 9 divine weapon, Tang Ao might be able to use the power of the grade 9 divine weapon to break open this spatial crack. However, after observing for a while, Tang Ao knew that even if he used his full strength, he couldn't use the primordial sacred heaven bow to break open this spatial crack. Seeing more and more people gathering in this direction, Tang Ao got Tang Yu to communicate with the Nether Dragon's imperial energy and prepare to break open this spatial crack. Not far away, Lin Yuten and Shi Hongyi stood on an ice tree and looked at Tang Ao. Shi Hongyi asked, "Senior brother Lin, do you think senior brother Tang Ao can shatter this space?" Lin Yuten hesitated for a moment before saying, Tang Ao's 9th grade magic weapon is the primordial sacred sky bow. Although the primordial sacred sky bow is extremely powerful, with Tang Ao's current cultivation base at the 9th floor of Linghai Jing, I'm afraid it's impossible for him to shatter this void. Although there are spatial tears here, this space is still very stable. Shi Hongyi was slightly disappointed. In other words, we are unable to leave this snowfield. It is not impossible to leave. As long as you reach the legendary astral reaching realm, you will definitely be able to break this space crack. In addition, if Tang Ao can expand this spatial crack, we will do our best to make it bigger. In this way, as long as we're fast enough, it won't be a problem to send 5 or 6 people out. Lin Yuten stared at Tang Ao as he spoke. It was already an exaggeration to say that there were 5 or 6 people. According to Lin Yuten's thoughts, if he could only expand the spatial crack a bit, it would only be able to send 3 or 4 people out. Moreover, Lin Yuten also knew that Tang Ao and Tang Yu, who were the closest to the spatial crack, felt that they would be able to get out. As for the others, it was a bit uncertain. Chu Feiyu and Mo Gu had the same thoughts as Lin Yuten. Of the 5 people from the Sky Sun continent, only the 2 of them were left. Chu Feiyu had tried this spatial crack before. Although he could tear it open a bit, it was not enough for people to get out. Therefore, after learning about Tang Ao's strength, Chu Feiyu decided to wait for Tang Ao to blast open some cracks. Then he would immediately make his move. Chapter 742. After about 30 breaths of time, Tang Yu nodded at Tang Ao. Then, Tang Yu jumped up toward the space crack. At the same time, Tang Yu pushed out his right palm. The moment Tang Yu pushed out his right palm, a wave of destructive power spread out from Tang Yu's body. Before, everyone was wondering why it was not Tang Ao attacking. But now, they realized that Tang Yu's power was even more powerful than Tang Ao's. At the same time, everyone was shocked that Tang Yu had such a horrifying power. Feeling that horrifying pressure in the air, a lot of people took a step back unconsciously. Chu Feiyu and the rest's expressions changed as well. Mo Gu looked at Chu Feiyu with lingering fear. Head disciple, this power has probably surpassed the life and death realm. I have only felt this kind of pressure from my master. Is it possible that this Tang Yu is an astral reaching realm warrior? Although Chu Feiyu was also surprised by Tang Yu's power, he still shook his head. This aura is very different from Tang Yu's aura. It should be a one-time attack. If Tang Yu was indeed an astral-reaching realm warrior, then our heads would have been taken by Tang Ao. Later, if there's a chance, let's join hands and kill Tang Ao. Kacha, kacha. Just as Chu Feiyu finished speaking, a series of crisp sounds came from above. Immediately, everyone saw a hole appear in the sky above the snowy plains. The space around the hole also began to crack. Then, a clear space tunnel appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Through that tunnel, everyone could even see the sky outside. At the sight of this, many cultivators scrambled to fly over, wanting to leave the snowfield as soon as possible. They had already gotten enough benefits in the snowfield. As long as they could leave the snowfield, it would be a victory. However, Tang Ao and Tang Yu were still carefully observing this space tunnel. As a peak level 9 astral reaching realm warrior in his previous life, Tang Ao naturally knew that this kind of space tunnel was very unstable at the beginning. Therefore, Even though Tang Ao desperately wanted to get out, he did not fight with the others for the passage. After the spatial tunnel appeared, Mo Gu, who was standing next to Chu Feiyu, charged into it without any hesitation. Chu Feiyu looked at Mo Gu's departing figure and silently cursed him for being an idiot before ignoring him. The first to rush into the spatial passageway was already close to it. It was a pale-faced youth. The youth's figure flashed and disappeared into the spatial passageway. Seeing this scene, Tang Ao was also stunned. Tang Ao thought to himself, could it be that I'm thinking too much? But when a young girl in a purple dress rushed to the entrance, Tang Ao began to secretly rejoice in his vigilance. This was because the moment the pretty purple-clothed girl rushed to the entrance of the spatial tunnel, she was torn apart without any warning. A beautiful head fell from the sky and rolled to Tang Ao's feet. Her eyes were still filled with shock and disbelief. After the purple-clothed girl, the cultivators in that area were cut into pieces without any warning, and a rain of blood sprinkled in the air. Tang Ao knew that this was the space blade light that appeared from the newly opened space tunnel. This kind of space blade light could not be blocked by non-astral reaching realm warriors. Chapter 743. Seeing these three figures, everyone was first taken aback, but then they sneered. Because the ones who had flown up were precisely Tang Ao, Tang Yu, and Feng Ling. Even if Tang Yu had used some unknown method to break through the spatial barrier and successfully form a spatial tunnel, there was clearly something wrong with this spatial tunnel. Of the people who had just gone up, aside from Mo Gu, who had used a secret technique to escape, the others had all been killed by the spatial blade rays. Even though Mo Gu had managed to use a secret technique in time, his legs and left arm had been shredded by the spatial blade rays. However, life and death realm cultivators were very powerful. In a breath's time, his legs and arms had recovered. However, his aura was extremely weak. Any spiritual sea realm cultivator could easily kill him. However, everyone was in a hurry to leave the snowfield, so no one paid attention to him. Others might not care, but Lin Yuten did. If Lin Yuten missed this opportunity to beat a drowning dog, he wouldn't be Lin Yuten. When Lin Yuten saw Tang Ao's trio fly up, he wanted to follow. But after a moment's hesitation, Lin Yuten swung his hand, and a sword chi shot out, heading straight for Mo Gu's forehead. However, before this sword chi could pierce through Mo Gu's forehead, it was shattered by Chu Feiyu's fan. After shooting out this sword chi, Lin Yuten and Shi Hongyi followed behind Tang Ao's trio. For some reason, Lin Yuten suddenly had a premonition that if he didn't hurry up and leave, he would never be able to leave again. Unlike Lin Yuten, Shi Hongyi had great faith in Tang Ao. The moment Tang Ao left, Shi Hongyi wanted to follow. However, before Shi Hongyi could move, Lin Yuten stopped him. Now that Lin Yuten wanted him to leave, Shi Hongyi naturally wouldn't hesitate. Tang Ao's trio was extremely fast and soon arrived at the entrance of the spatial tunnel. However, the scene of Tang Ao being torn apart did not happen. Just like the white-robed young man who had left first, Tang Ao's group of three also disappeared into the spatial passageway in a flash. Lin Yuten and Shi Hongyi, who had followed closely behind Tang Ao, also quickly disappeared into the spatial passageway. Seeing that they had successfully left the snowfield, the remaining cultivators could no longer hold themselves back. All of them swarmed towards the spatial passageway. However, before these people could even approach the spatial channel, a powerful aura instantly surpassed them. There were two people in this aura. One was Chu Feiyu, and the other was Mo Gu, whom Chu Feiyu was holding. After Chu Feiyu and Zhou Xuanji left, a cold aura blasted everyone away. There are also two people in this aura. One was Murong Xiao, who had escaped from Tang Ao's hands using a spatial escape talisman. However, at this moment, Murong Xiao was being held by a purple-clothed man with his spiritual power sealed. The cold and gloomy aura in the surrounding space was coming from the purple-clothed man. After the purple-clothed man and Murong Xiao left, everyone watched in horror as the spatial crack gradually shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye. Seeing this scene, everyone was scared out of their wits. They desperately squeezed into the spatial crack. However, except for a few people, the rest were hit by an invisible force. They spat out blood in midair and fell to the ground. At this moment, a pretty woman in snow-white clothes also arrived. Her bright eyes flashed with surprise. Bing Tong had felt the spatial fluctuations in this location not long ago. Out of curiosity, she had decided to come and take a look. What Bing Tong hadn't expected was that someone had really broken open the spatial passageway here. Looking at the people who were constantly being bombarded by the repulsive force of the spatial recovery, Bing Tong rushed towards the spatial passageway that was about to completely recover. Chapter 744. When Tang Ao passed through the spatial passageway, he wasn't hit by the spatial blades. By the time Tang Ao and the other two passed through the spatial passageway, the spatial blades had already dissipated. Although the spatial blades had dissipated, they still contained a powerful repulsive force. In order to resist this repulsive force, Tang Ao gritted his teeth and continued to move forward. If it was just Tang Ao and Tang Yu, Tang Ao wouldn't have had to do this. However, Feng Ling's cultivation was too low when she moved with Tang Ao. Therefore, Tang Ao had to help her resist the repulsive force. Otherwise, Feng Ling wouldn't be able to pass through the spatial passageway. Although Feng Ling and Tang Yu weren't nearby, Tang Ao wasn't worried about their safety. Tang Yu was already at the peak of the 9th floor of Linghai Jing. He was only one step away from entering the life and death realm. As for Feng Ling, she was only at the 5th floor of Linghai Jing. In the snowfield, her strength wasn't enough. However, outside the snowfield, the 5th floor of Linghai Jing's strength was enough for her to protect herself. Tang Ao adjusted his breathing to restore his strength while observing the dilapidated hall. This hall seemed to be a relic. However, this relic had long since been emptied. Therefore, aside from a few broken statues, there was nothing else in the relic. After Tang Ao finished adjusting his breathing, he left. The moment Tang Ao crossed the hall, Tang Ao seemed to sense something. However, when Tang Ao investigated carefully, he couldn't find anything. Puzzled, Tang Ao used his soul power to search the entire hall. After confirming that there was nothing, Tang Ao could only leave. If there was nothing else, Tang Ao could have stayed and studied the hall to see if there was anything strange about it. However, Tang Ao was in a hurry to save Su Ning. Obviously, he didn't have the time to study the strange hall. Moreover, Tang Ao did not even know where he was. Thus, Tang Ao was worried that he was too far away from Lu Lingshuan's cave. Not long after Tang Ao left, Lin Yuten's figure fell from the sky in a sorry state. Lin Yuten did not know how long she had been teleported through the spatial passageway. She only felt dizzy, and there was a blurry figure practicing swordsmanship in front of her. Lin Yuten originally thought that he was hallucinating, but after watching for a moment, he was immediately attracted by the exquisite swordsmanship. He unconsciously picked up his fine steel longsword and started practicing with the blurry figure. Several hours later, Lin Yuten suddenly stabbed out with her sword. This seemingly ordinary sword strike actually left a faint sword mark in the space. Upon closer inspection, there was even a slight crack in the space. Lin Yuten's body trembled, and she completely woke up. Immediately after, Lin Yuten looked at the longsword in his hand, and his heart was also filled with shock. At this moment, the longsword in Lin Yuten's hand was no longer the magnificent longsword from before. Instead, it was an extremely ordinary longsword. However, Lin Yuten knew that this sword was definitely not ordinary. This was because this sword was called the Clear Sky Sword. The swordsmanship she had just practiced was called the Clear Sky Sword Technique. The previous owner of this sword was called Clear Sky Emperor, who was also the owner of this hall. If Tang Ao knew that he had missed out on the inheritance of a great emperor because of a moment of carelessness, Tang Ao would probably vomit blood. Chapter 745. Tang Ao originally thought that he was too far from Lu Lingshuan's cave abode and was worried that it would take up too much time. However, after flying for a while, Tang Ao immediately sensed the Jade Bone Life Soul's child life soul aura that he had left on Su Ning's body. Tang Ao's face lit up as he immediately flew in that direction. Not long after, Tang Ao arrived at the entrance of Lu Lingxuan's cave abode. Lu Lingxian, who was cultivating in the cave abode, also sensed the commotion outside. With a flash, Lu Lingxian arrived at the entrance. When she saw the farmer god grass in Tang Ao's hand, Lu Lingxian was shocked. She had never imagined that Tang Ao would actually find the farmer god grass. Senior sister Lu, with the farmer god grass, we can save junior sister Su Ning, right? Tang Ao asked anxiously as he handed the farmer god grass to Lu Lingxian. Lu Lingxian nodded and said, "Follow me." The two of them arrived at the ice room, where Su Ning was sealed in ice. Although Su Ning was sealed in 10,000-year ice, Tang Ao could still sense a weak life force from Su Ning's body. Tang Ao took out a jade box. Inside the jade box was Su Ning's heavenly polar eyes. Lu Lingxian looked at the heavenly polar eyes in the jade box, and then at Tang Ao's eyes. "You killed a heavenly polar eyes warrior and snatched his heavenly polar eyes?" As Lu Lingxian spoke, she carefully took a step back. Seeing Lu Lingxuan's reaction, Tang Ao knew that Lu Lingxian had misunderstood. So, he told Lu Lingxian about how he had found the Shinnong Emperor's palace and obtained the Shinnong Emperor's legacy. After listening to Tang Ao's explanation, Lu Lingxian heaved a sigh of relief. If Tang Ao was the kind of person who would attack others for no reason, Lu Lingxian would never help Tang Ao. Lu Lingxuan's medical skills had indeed reached the pinnacle of perfection. After Lu Lingxian had melted the 10,000-year-old ice, he had given Su Ning the sky polar eyes. At the same time, Lu Lingxian waved her hand to send out a blade beam, cutting a wound on her wrist. A line of blood, as red as a rose, dripped down from Lu Lingxuan's wrist. The blood seemed to contain a boundless life force, causing the lifeless farmer god grass to immediately rejuvenate. With the nourishment of Lu Lingxuan's blood, the farmer god grass began to glow with a faint green light. Following that, under Lu Lingxuan's guidance, the farmer god grass's faint green glow and his own blood became two streams of energy that slowly flowed into Su Ning's body. At this moment, Su Ning's life force was completely rejuvenated. Strands of black qi continuously gathered between Su Ning's eyebrows. This black qi was the poison that covered Su Ning's entire body. At this moment, under the guidance of the farmer god grass and Lu Lingxuan's blood, the black qi continuously gathered between Su Ning's eyebrows. When all the poison in Su Ning's body had gathered between Su Ning's eyebrows, Lu Lingxian did not hesitate to send out a silver needle, piercing it between Su Ning's eyebrows. Following that, a drop of black liquid was forced out by Lu Lingxian. Taking out a jade bottle, Lu Lingxian placed a seal on the drop of poison before putting it away. After doing all that, Lu Lingxuan's body suddenly went limp and he fell to the side. Tang Ao had been watching the entire process of Lu Lingxuan's treatment of Su Ning. Therefore, Tang Ao naturally knew that Lu Lingxian had lost too much blood and his body was too weak. Therefore, Tang Ao hurriedly held the unconscious Lu Lingxian. At the same time, the Jade Bone Life soul flowed into Lu Lingxuan's body without reservation, nourishing her weak body. Chapter 746. After saying that, Su Ning seemed to recall something. She quickly covered her eyes and said, "Senior apprentice brother Tang Ao, I didn't see anything." Hearing Su Ning's words, Tang Ao's face darkened. Although Lu Lingxuan's body was soft and comfortable to hold, Tang Ao couldn't shamelessly enjoy the warmth in his arms. Tang Ao carried Lu Lingxian and placed him beside Su Ning. Fortunately, the bed was big enough for Su Ning and Lu Lingxian to lie on it without feeling cramped. Soon, Su Ning exclaimed, "Big sister Lu, you saved me." Although Lu Lingxian was very weak, he was amused by Su Ning. Lu Lingxian smiled and said, I only sealed your life force and slowed the poison from corroding your body. Now that the poison in your body has been neutralized, you'll be fine. After that, Lu Lingxian told Su Ning about what happened after Su Ning fell unconscious. After hearing the story, Su Ning struggled to sit up. She said to Tang Ao, "Senior apprentice brother Tang Ao, you saved me once again. I don't know how to repay you. Originally, I wanted to repay you with my body, but you already have big sister Lu." Before Su Ning could finish, Lu Lingxian covered Su Ning's mouth. Earlier, Tang Ao had only hugged Lu Lingxian when he saw that he was about to fall. Now, Su Ning was making things worse. After covering Su Ning's mouth, Lu Lingxian took out the farmer god grass. Junior apprentice brother Tang Ao, this farmer god grass is a good treasure. You must keep it well. Tang Ao didn't take the farmer god grass. Tang Ao had already decided to give it to Lu Lingxian. Before Tang Ao could say anything, Su Ning struggled free from Lu Lingxuan's hand. She said, "Big sister Lu, I already said I won't fight with you over senior apprentice brother Tang Ao. You still want to kill me? I'm so sad. Sob, sob, sob." However, before Su Ning could cry, Tang Ao and Lu Lingxian stretched out their hands at the same time and pinched Su Ning's face. Clearly, they wanted to punish her. But Su Ning reacted quickly. She moved her head back and covered her face with her fox fur coat. Then, she said in a low voice, "This is too cruel. I found out about your scandal, and you want to kill me to keep it secret." Tang Ao knew he couldn't explain this to Su Ning. He picked up Lu Lingxian and prepared to move to another place. However, when Tang Ao carried Lu Lingxian to the door, Tang Ao turned around and saw Su Ning winking at him. At the same time, she raised her fist. Su Ning carefully sent a voice transmission to Tang Ao. "Big brother Tang Ao, this is all I can do for you. You have to do your best." Hearing Su Ning's voice transmission, Tang Ao almost dropped Lu Lingxian to the ground. After Su Ning and Lu Lingxian recovered, the three gathered again. This time, when Su Ning saw Tang Ao's serious expression, she didn't cause any trouble. Tang Ao sighed. Then, he briefly explained Xia Qinyu's situation. Then, he waved his hand and took out the ice that sealed Xia Qinyu. Tang Ao wanted to ask Lu Lingxian if he had a way to save Xia Qinyu. Lu Lingxian looked at the ice coffin that Tang Ao took out with a stunned expression. After a long time, he said, "I didn't know that you had a hobby of saving people." Tang Ao's face darkened. Although he didn't have such a hobby, regardless of whether it was Su Ning or Xia Qinyu, although their experiences were different, the end result was the same. Chapter 747. Tang Ao knew about the Tai Ching sect's Tai Ching aura concealment technique. So Tang Ao knew that Xia Qinyu only used this method to make herself enter a dormant state. However, Tang Ao didn't know much about the Tai Ching aura concealment technique. So Tang Ao only knew that Xia Qinyu used the Tai Ching aura concealment technique, but he didn't know that Xia Qinyu didn't finish using the secret technique. Senior sister apprentice Lu, even you can't save her? Although Tang Ao knew that he had to undo the Tai Ching aura concealment technique to save Xia Qinyu, Tang Ao still couldn't help but ask. Lu Lingxian shook her head. "I can seal her vitality like how I froze Su Ning to slow down the loss of her vitality. Moreover, it can also heal the injuries on her body. However, I do not understand the secret technique. So, I'm unable to undo the profound purity aura concealment art on her body." After Lu Lingxian finished speaking, he looked at Tang Ao apologetically. Tang Ao gave her such a precious thing as the Shinnon grass, but when Tang Ao wanted her help, she couldn't help Tang Ao. Lu Lingxian suddenly thought of something and asked, "Do you know where her sect is?" Although the Tai Ching sect had declined, it hadn't changed its location. So Tang Ao still knew the location of the Tai Ching sect. Her sect is called the Tai Ching sect, but the Underworld Emperor's mystic realm is a bit special. There is no specific time when it ends. I heard that if the Underworld Emperor's mystic realm doesn't take the initiative to teleport out, there is no way to leave. Normally, this is the case, but I know a hidden place where there is a teleportation array that leads to the outside world. It's just that I have used this teleportation array a few times before. Now, I can only use it once at most. Lu Lingxian had been in the Underworld Emperor's mystic realm for a long time. Lu Lingxian was very familiar with some secrets that others didn't know. Tang Ao was delighted. Senior Sister Apprentice Lu, where is that teleportation array? Lu Lingxian shook his head. That teleportation array can't be used again after this. In other words, if you leave, you can only return to the Netherworld Emperor's mystic realm after 10,000 years. I happen to be free, so if you trust me, I can send your junior sister Xia to her sect, and you can continue to search for your opportunities in the Netherworld Emperor mystic realm. But senior sister Lu, you can also search for your own opportunities in the Netherworld Emperor mystic realm. This is my business. How can I hold you back? Lu Lingxian did not allow Tang Ao to continue. You giving me the farmer godgrass is already a great opportunity for me. Moreover, I've been in the Netherworld Emperor's mystic realm for such a long time. I've already obtained the opportunities that belong to me. As for those that don't belong to me, I can't force it. Tang Ao knew what Lu Lingxian was thinking. He did not want to take advantage of him. It was not that Tang Ao did not know the value of the farmer god grass. It was not inferior to the farmer god cauldron at all. However, in Tang Ao's opinion, Lu Lingxian was more suitable to inherit the farmer god grass. Hence, Tang Ao had given it to Lu Lingxian because Lu Lingxian was more suitable to inherit the farmer god grass than him. Lu Lingxian was clearly not willing to accept his kindness for no reason. Hence, she wanted to use this opportunity to repay his kindness. Lu Lingxian had been in the Netherworld Emperor mystic realm for a long time. However, she had spent most of her time in the mystic realm. The time she had spent searching for treasures was probably even shorter than Tang Ao. However, Lu Lingxian had already put it this way. If Tang Ao rejected her, Lu Lingxian would be heartbroken. Tang Ao cupped his fists towards Lu Lingxian. Many thanks, Senior Sister Lu. Chapter 748. Seeing Su Ning's innocent look, Tang Ao and Lu Lingxian couldn't teach her a lesson. Seeing that Tang Ao and Lu Lingxian didn't want to pinch her face, Su Ning smiled and said, Senior Brother Tang Ao, I want to go out with Sister Lu. When you leave Ming Emperor Mystic Realm, remember to go to 100 Flowers Valley to find me. Tang Ao was stunned. You're going out? If Lu Lingxian was going out to not accept his kindness in vain and to help him send Xia Qinyu back to Tai Ching's sect, then it was a bit unbelievable that Su Ning wanted to leave Ming Emperor Mystic Realm at this moment. As a matter of fact, Ming Emperor Mystic Realm was a sacred opportunity that only opened once every 10,000 years. There were several treasures in Ming Emperor Mystic Realm. As long as one obtained one of them, it was enough to change one's fate. If Tang Ao didn't have Shenong Cauldron and Primordial Sacred Heavenly Bow, even if Tang Ao cultivated to the peak of the 9th floor of Linghai Jing, he definitely wouldn't be able to crush Murong Xiao, who was at the 2nd level of Life and Death Realm. Although Tang Ao might be able to defeat Murong Xiao if he gave it his all, it would be impossible for him to crush Murong Xiao. There were still many treasures like Shenong Cauldron and Primordial Sacred Heavenly Bow in Ming Emperor Mystic Realm. Although Su Ning's strength was a bit weaker, strength wasn't an absolute factor when it came to opportunities. When Tang Ao went to Shenong Emperor Palace, Tang Ao was just a mere existence on the 5th floor of Linghai Jing. At that time, there were life and death realm martial artists on the snowfield. Compared to those 5 life and death realm martial artists, Tang Ao's strength was much weaker. But in the end, it was still Tang Ao who obtained the inheritance of Shun Nong Emperor. Thinking about the difference in strength, Tang Ao suddenly understood why Su Ning didn't want to continue training with him in the Netherworld Emperor Mystic Realm. Su Ning had been asleep for nearly 3 months. In other words, Su Ning was 3 months behind the others. Su Ning's cultivation wasn't high to begin with. After falling behind in the Netherworld Emperor Mystic Realm for 3 months, Su Ning couldn't catch up to the others no matter how hard she tried. As for Su Ning, She was worried that he would have to protect her while she followed him. That was why Su Ning suggested leaving with Lu Lingxian. After figuring out the reason, Tang Ao reached out to grab Su Ning. However, under Su Ning's puzzled gaze, Tang Ao poked Su Ning's snow-white forehead with 2 fingers. Once the Netherworld Emperor Mystic Realm ends, I'll go to the 100-Flower Valley to find you. Remember to cultivate properly. Tang Ao finished speaking and hugged Su Ning. Seeing Tang Ao's actions, Su Ning's eyes reddened. She didn't know why, but she suddenly felt like crying. She had been alone since she was young. Only when she met Tang Ao did she feel like she had found family. Tang Ao was like a big brother who cared for her. Senior sister Lu, I'll leave junior sister Su Ning to you. Without waiting for Lu Lingxian to speak, Su Ning patted her chest and said, Big brother Tang Ao, don't worry. I will definitely listen to big sister Lu. After Lu Lingxian and Su Ning left, Tang Ao also flew back to the hall he came from. In Tang Ao's opinion, even if there was an error in the spatial tunnel, Tang Yu and Feng Ling should be nearby. Therefore, Tang Ao decided to look for Tang Yu and Feng Ling. However, halfway through Tang Ao's flight, he saw a familiar face. When he saw this person, Tang Ao's eyes turned cold. I left in a hurry just now. I actually forgot about this guy. The person Tang Ao saw was a triangular-eyed man in a golden robe. This person was none other than the one who had injured Su Ning and destroyed Tang Ao's eyes, Golden Fong Snake Lord. If Tang Ao hadn't cultivated the Skypole eyes in the Shinnong Emperor's palace, Tang Ao would still be blind. Chapter 749. Seeing Tang Ao, golden-toothed snake man sneered, I don't have time to find you, but you little bastard have come to me. These are your last words? If you're done, then go on your way. Although golden-toothed snake man had broken through to the life and death realm, his cultivation base was still nothing in Tang Ao's eyes. Not long ago, Tang Ao had crushed Morong Xiao, who was at the 2nd level of life and death realm. Golden-toothed snake man was only at the 1st level of life and death realm, which was much weaker than Morong Xiao. When golden-toothed snake man saw Tang Ao attack him without any scruples, he thought that Tang Ao had a helper hiding in the dark. However, he immediately thought that he had broken through to the life and death realm. So even if Tang Ao had a helper, he would not be afraid. Seeing Tang Ao's confident punch, golden-toothed snake man sneered. Since Tang Ao was courting death, he might as well help Tang Ao. Golden-toothed snake man opened his mouth and shot out a dark golden poisonous arrow. However, in the face of this arrow, Tang Ao only casually threw out an ancient cauldron. Seeing that Tang Ao did not even try to dodge his poisonous arrow after throwing out a cauldron, golden-toothed snake man's eyes were filled with disdain. From Tang Ao's attack, golden-toothed snake man could tell that Tang Ao had improved compared to 3 months ago. However, golden-toothed snake man did not expect that Tang Ao would dare to be so arrogant after his improvement. Ever since he had refined his blood poison arrow, nothing had ever been able to block it. Yet, Tang Ao was delusional enough to think that such a broken cauldron could block his poison arrow. It was truly ridiculous. Tang Ao, do you think you can block my blood poison arrow with such a broken cauldron? Die. As Golden Teeth Snake Man spoke, he turned into a shadow and pounced on Tang Ao. After the blood essence poison arrow hit Tang Ao, Golden Fong Snake Sovereign was prepared to swallow Tang Ao in one gulp. He definitely wouldn't give Tang Ao a chance to escape. The silver-toothed viper, who was watching from the side, had no intention of making a move. His figure flashed and completely sealed off Tang Ao's escape route. Golden Fong's poison arrow collided with the Shinnong cauldron. However, the scene of the arrow shattering the Shinnong cauldron didn't happen. On the other hand, the Shinnong cauldron shattered the blood essence arrow like it was nothing. Furthermore, the Shinnong cauldron did not slow down in the slightest as it continued on its way towards Golden-Toothed Snake Lord. What treasure is this? Golden-toothed snake sovereign's blood essence poison arrow could even pierce through a fourth-grade divine weapon. But now, when faced with Tang Ao's simple and unadorned cauldron, it was actually smashed into pieces. Dong! Kacha kacha! Puchi! With a dull thud, the Shinnong cauldron slammed into Golden-toothed Snake Lord's chest without any resistance. Under the Shinnong cauldron, Golden-toothed Snake Lord's chest produced several crisp sounds before it quickly caved in. Tang Ao instantly heavily injured Golden-toothed Snake Lord, causing him to spit out a mouthful of black blood. However, Tang Ao had no intention of letting him off. After Golden-toothed Snake Lord was heavily injured by the cauldron, Tang Ao instantly closed in on him. Under Golden-toothed Snake Lord's shocked gaze, Tang Ao grabbed one of the Shinnong cauldron's legs and swung it at Golden-toothed Snake Lord's head. Golden-toothed Snake Lord was scared out of his wits, but the dagger in his chest prevented him from moving. This dagger was Tang Ao's life soul, the moribund dagger. Chapter 750. The battle between Tang Ao and Golden-toothed Snake Lord started and ended very quickly. Golden-toothed Snake Lord didn't even have the chance to beg for mercy before he was killed by Tang Ao. Their battle didn't last more than 30 breaths of time either. Seeing that Tang Ao had effortlessly killed Golden Fong Snake King, the Silver Fong Venomous Snake King did not even think of resisting. Instead, it immediately used its huge body to flee into the distance. After 3 months, the Silver Fong Viper had broken through to the 9th floor of Linghai Jing. Moreover, the Silver Fong Viper didn't look like a huge snake anymore. He had transformed into a human snake. This wasn't because the Silver Fong Viper was trash, but because its bloodline was stronger than Golden-toothed Snake Lord's. As far as snake-type demonic beasts were concerned, the stronger their bloodline, the harder it was for them to transform. Bang! Before the Silver Fong Viper could escape far, Tang Ao caught up to him and sent him flying with a punch. Tang Ao had a few bones broken by this guy's merciless tail, so he naturally wouldn't go easy on him. Tang Ao, you can't kill me. I'm a pure-blood descendant of the 5 Elements Demon Domain's Silver Fong Snake race. It's fine if you kill Golden-toothed Snake Lord, but if you kill me, you'll be hunted down by the Silver Fong Snake race. Tang Ao heard the Silver Fong Viper's words and rubbed his chin, then said casually, I wonder how the Silver Fong Snake race compares to Emperor Yulong. The Silver Fong Viper didn't know what Tang Ao meant, but he still said respectfully, Our Silver Fong Snake race is a subsidiary of Emperor Yulong. Although Emperor Yulong disappeared for tens of thousands of years, he didn't die. Tang Ao didn't let the Silver Fong Viper continue. In that case, I'll send you to see Emperor Yulong. The Silver Fong Viper was shocked when he heard Tang Ao's words. He wanted to escape, but his body seemed to be bound by something. The Silver Fong Viper raised its head and saw the longbow in Tang Ao's hands. Tang Ao pulled the longbow into a full moon shape, and a destructive aura swept out from the longbow. Tang Ao, as long as you let me go, I'm willing to form a spiritual beast contract with you and become your spiritual pet. In order to survive, the silver-toothed venomous snake couldn't care less. Bullshit. Do you think that just any trash can become my contractual spiritual beast? After Tang Ao said this, he released his hand, and a mysterious heaven arrow fell to the ground like a meteor, wrapped in the aura of death, and bombarded the Silver Fong Viper. Tang Ao, the Silver Fong Snake clan won't let you off. Before the Silver Fong Snake could finish his sentence, he exploded into a bloody mist under the profound heaven arrow. After the Silver Fong Venomous Snake exploded into a bloody mist, a soul shadow leapt out of the bloody mist and fled into the distance without hesitation. When Tang Ao saw this soul phantom, he shot out an arrow without hesitation. The Silver Fong Venomous Snake's soul shrieked, but it still disappeared. Spatial blood escape. I underestimated this fella. Tang Ao looked at the place where the Silver Fong Venomous Snake disappeared and shook his head. This time, Tang Ao had underestimated his enemy. After he crushed the golden Fong Snake Lord, he didn't put the silver Fong venomous snake in his eyes at all. However, what Tang Ao didn't expect was that the silver Fong venomous snake didn't die after being shot by the primordial sacred heaven bow, and it even used the spatial blood escape to escape. Chapter 751. With a sweep of his spiritual power, Golden Fong Snake Lord's storage ring flew into Tang Ao's hand. After obtaining Golden Fong Snake Lord's storage ring, Tang Ao quickly left the place. After Tang Ao left, a huge greenish-gray rock not far from the battle between Tang Ao and Golden Fong Snake Lord suddenly moved. Then, it slowly transformed into a human form. Of course, this was not a rock monster, but a martial artist who had awakened a camouflage life spirit. This martial artist looked at Tang Ao, his eyes shining with a golden light. Primordial sacred sky bow, farmer god cauldron, mysterious clear mirror. The news of Tang Ao's various treasures had long spread among the martial artists in the underworld Emperor's secret realm. It was rumored that Tang Ao and a group of martial artists had discovered the inheritance of one of the 5 emperors, the Shinnong Emperor. Within the inheritance of the Shinnong Emperor, everyone had obtained many treasures, and Tang Ao was the biggest beneficiary. The 9th Grey Divine Weapon, Primordial Sacred Sky Bow, was in Tang Ao's hands. The 8th Grey Divine Weapon, Mysterious Clear Mirror, was in Tang Ao's hands, and a legendary Farmer God Cauldron was also in Tang Ao's hands. Some even said that Shinnong Emperor's famous artifact, Farmer God Grass, was obtained by Tang Ao. If Tang Ao was a life and death realm 9th level martial artist, then no one would dare to say a word when Tang Ao obtained these treasures. But the news they received was true. Tang Ao was only a martial artist from the 9th floor of Linghai Jing. The 9th floor of Linghai Jing would be considered a martial artist in the Black-Yellow Continent. But in the underworld Emperor's secret realm, where geniuses gathered and countless opportunities gathered, the 9th floor of Linghai Jing was really ordinary. At this moment, there were no less than 100 life and death martial artists in the underworld Emperor's secret realm. There were even more Sea of Soul realm martial artists. Therefore, Tang Ao's cultivation was really nothing. There were many people who coveted Tang Ao's treasures, but only a few could find Tang Ao. Qinhu was also one of the many martial artists who were looking for Tang Ao. However, Qinhu's cultivation level was lower than Tang Ao's. He was only on the 7th floor of Linghai Jing. However, Qinhu was adept at camouflage, which was why he dared to search the underworld Emperor Mountain Range, which was filled with countless beasts. When Qinhu saw Tang Ao leaving, he hesitated for a moment. In the end, he decided not to follow Tang Ao. Qinhu had already witnessed Tang Ao's ruthlessness. Qinhu felt that even if there were 2 of him, he wouldn't be a match for Tang Ao. Although he coveted Tang Ao's treasures, he was helpless against Tang Ao's strength. It was impossible for him to take all of Tang Ao's treasures for himself. After thinking for a moment, Qinhu's figure slowly disappeared. He was prepared to sell Tang Ao's range to people who needed it. If Tang Ao had used his sky polar eyes to scan the area, he would definitely have discovered Qinhu hiding in the side. Unfortunately, Tang Ao didn't use his sky polar eyes. Therefore, Tang Ao left behind such a huge problem. Now, Tang Ao arrived at a dilapidated cave. He didn't know when this cave was dug by a martial artist, but it looked quite old. After Tang Ao walked into the cave, he saw that there was an extinguished bonfire in the cave. It seemed like someone had stayed in this cave not long ago. Apart from the fire, there was also a messy pile of straw. Tang Ao didn't stand on ceremony. He directly sat on the straw. Then, Tang Ao took out Golden Fong, Snake Lord's ring. Golden Fong Snake Lord was already dead, and Tang Ao's soul power was extremely strong. Therefore, it didn't take much effort for Tang Ao to break the restriction on Golden Fong Snake Lord's ring. Golden Fong Snake Lord's storage ring wasn't filled with treasures like Tang Ao had imagined. Chapter 752. Then, Tang Ao recalled that the Silver Fong Venomous Snake Lord was even poorer than the Golden Fong Snake Lord. The Golden Fong Snake Lord still had a storage ring, but the Silver Fong Venomous Snake Lord did not even have storage ring. The Silver Fong Snake Lord had said that he was a pure-blood descendant of the Silver Fong Snake Lord. It sounded like he had a powerful background. Tang Ao cast these thoughts aside and took out the jade strip for the Golden Fong Snake Lord's storage ring. The jade strip was very dilapidated, and the Golden Fong Snake Lord had placed dozens of restrictions on it. Tang Ao was speechless. The Golden Fong Snake Lord had placed so many restrictions on the jade strip. Every time he checked the jade strip, he would probably need to spend 2 to 4 hours to remove the restrictions. After looking at the jade strip, he would need to spend another 2 to 4 hours to seal the restrictions. He really did not understand what the Golden Fong Snake Lord was thinking. Tang Ao wasn't as meticulous as the Golden-Toothed Snake Monarch. His incomparably powerful soul power broke the restriction on the jade slip without any hesitation. After Tang Ao broke all the restrictions on the jade strip, Tang Ao saw the contents of the jade strip. Minor divine art? Refining the heart-blood arrow? Tang Ao's body trembled. The martial techniques in the Xianhuang continent were divided into 4 grades: heaven, earth, profound, and yellow. Tang Ao had never seen a heaven-ranked martial technique before. The strongest martial technique that Tang Ao had grasped in his previous life was a superior grade earth-ranked martial technique. However, this martial technique was a set with the cultivation technique from his previous life. In this life, Tang Ao did not cultivate the cultivation technique from his previous life. Therefore, Tang Ao could not execute this martial technique. Although Tang Ao did not possess a heaven-ranked martial technique, he had seen the might of a heaven-ranked martial technique. At the same time, Tang Ao knew that there were divine arts above heaven-ranked martial techniques. Divine arts were divided into minor divine arts and major divine arts. Every divine art was an existence that could destroy the world. At this moment, there was a minor divine art in front of Tang Ao. After seeing this minor divine technique, Tang Ao finally understood why Golden-Toothed Snake Lord's Essence Blood Poison Arrow was so powerful. This was because Golden-Toothed Snake Sovereign's Blood Essence Poison Arrow was a simplified version of the refined Heart Blood Arrow. However, using the refined blood arrow consumed a martial artist's life force. Thus, after simplifying it, Golden Fong Snake Monarch modified it. He fused his fatal venom into the blood arrow, creating a nondescript blood poison arrow. Crack! The jade slip in Tang Ao's hand actually cracked a bit. It seemed as if it would quickly shatter and disappear. Tang Ao was greatly alarmed, and he hurriedly poured all of his soul power into the jade slip and frantically copied the contents of the jade slip. After the first crisp sound, the speed at which the jade slip shattered became faster and faster. Tang Ao also stimulated his soul power to the extreme. It wasn't easy for him to obtain a lesser divine art. If it was destroyed in his hands because of this, Tang Ao would never forgive himself. As Tang Ao crazily copied the contents of the jade slip with his soul power, Tang Ao continuously memorized the contents of the jade slip, and the speed at which the jade slip shattered became faster and faster. Finally, when Tang Ao's soul power was completely exhausted, the jade slip completely shattered into a pile of scraps. Tang Ao felt a stabbing pain in his sea of consciousness, and he was somewhat speechless. His soul power was already strong to this extent, but he could only barely finish recording the contents of the jade slip. If it was someone else who obtained this jade slip, they would have already died. If someone else had obtained this jade slip, they probably wouldn't even be able to memorize 1/10 of the contents before the jade slip completely shattered. Although there were not many things in Golden-Toothed Snake Lord's ring, Tang Ao was still very satisfied with this minor divine art. Chapter 753. After Tang Ao sorted out the contents of the refining heart blood arrow, he didn't immediately start cultivating it. Instead, he continued to look at the other things in Golden-Toothed Snake Lord's ring. This time, Tang Ao took out the ancient map from Golden Tooth Snake Lord's ring. After seeing the things on the map, Tang Ao was delighted. The thing on the map was none other than the wind, thunder, dark cloud that Tang Ao was painstakingly searching for. Tang Ao had previously thought of ways to find the wind, thunder, dark cloud, but he couldn't find any clues. Now, Tang Ao had almost forgotten about the wind, thunder, dark cloud. In the end, the map of the wind, thunder, dark cloud appeared in front of Tang Ao. However, Tang Ao soon discovered that something was wrong. This was because behind the map, there was a line of small words, 203rd map. Seeing this line of words, Tang Ao's face turned black. Just now, Tang Ao felt that he had picked up a treasure. He even knew the location of the wind, thunder, dark cloud. But now, Tang Ao knew that this ancient map was not the only one. This map in Tang Ao's hand was already more than 200 copies. Tang Ao didn't know how many there were, but Tang Ao knew that there were at least 200 people who could obtain such a map. Thinking about how Golden Tooth Snake Lord couldn't obtain the wind, thunder, dark cloud, Tang Ao felt that he had a high chance of obtaining the wind, thunder, dark cloud. Although Golden Tooth Snake Lord couldn't last more than a few rounds, he was still a life and death realm expert. Even a life and death realm expert like Golden Tooth Snake Lord couldn't obtain the wind, thunder, dark cloud. It could be seen that this treasure was not easy to obtain. After taking the map, Tang Ao looked at the small pile of spirit stones in Golden Tooth Snake Lord's storage ring. There were only a dozen or so spirit stones. Compared to Emperor Yulong's mountain of spirit stones, Golden Tooth Snake Lord was really poor. Tang Ao suddenly exclaimed. This was because Tang Ao discovered that these spirit stones were not low-grade spirit stones, mid-grade spirit stones, or high-grade spirit stones, but top-grade spirit stones. Even Tang Ao hadn't seen many top-grade spirit stones in his previous life. Even Emperor Yulong's treasury didn't have a single one. Although there weren't many things in Golden Tooth Snake Lord's storage ring, they were all top-grade. First, it was the jade strip of Refining Heart Blood Arrow. Then it was the map of Wind, Thunder, Nether Cloud. Although this map was a bit melodramatic, Tang Ao would not deny its value. Without this map, Tang Ao didn't know if he would be able to find the location of the Wind, Thunder, Dark Clouds when he left the Netherworld Emperor's mystic realm. In addition to the jade strip and the map of the Wind, Thunder, Dark Cloud, Tang Ao also found 11 top-quality spirit stones in the storage ring of Golden Fong Snake Monarch. Now, Tang Ao didn't feel that Golden Tooth Snake Lord was poor at all. In fact, Tang Ao felt that he was the poor one compared to Golden Tooth Snake Lord. Without hesitation, Tang Ao took out the top-grade spirit stone and put it in a jade box. Then, he put the jade box into the chaotic hexlight mirror. Besides these three things, everything else in Golden Tooth Snake Lord's storage ring was in a jade box. With the harvest just now, Tang Ao was looking forward to the contents of the jade box. There were a total of 10 jade boxes. Tang Ao casually took one out and opened it. Inside the jade box was a rank 7 spirit fruit, Pyryang fruit. Chapter 754. After putting away the Golden Tooth Snake Lord's items with satisfaction, Tang Ao prepared to search for the Wind, Thunder, Dark Cloud. Legend had it that the Wind, Thunder, Dark Cloud was not only a flying treasure with unparalleled speed, but it also hid a huge secret. However, Tang Ao did not even see the Wind, Thunder, Dark Cloud in his previous life, so Tang Ao naturally did not know the secret hidden in the Wind, Thunder, Dark Cloud. Although Tang Ao did not know what kind of secret was hidden in the Wind, Thunder, Dark Cloud, Tang Ao had heard many legends about it. One of the most reliable theories was that the Wind, Thunder, Dark Cloud hid a top-notch escape technique in the world. After this escape technique was mastered, it could pass through the 6 paths of yin and yang. It was an extremely powerful divine technique. After carefully looking at the map where the Wind, Thunder, Dark Cloud was, Tang Ao left this cave. At a place extremely far away from the cave, where Tang Ao was, Bai Zhanyuan stopped in a forest. Bai Zhanyuan, I want to make a deal with you. A voice came out from the forest, and Bai Zhanyuan was stopped by this voice. However, Bai Zhanyuan's soul power scanned the forest several times, and he did not find anyone else in the forest. Behind Bai Zhanyuan, a few martial artists realized that there were no other martial artists hidden in the forest, and they all felt a little fearful. There were too many strange things in the Emperor Ming mystic realm, and these unknown strange things were usually accompanied by danger. Therefore, a few martial artists subconsciously moved closer to where Bai Zhanyuan was. Bai Zhanyuan was now a life and death level 4 martial artist. In the Emperor Ming mystic realm, he did not dare to say that he was invincible, but he was at least one of the top experts. Seeing his subordinates like this, Bai Zhanyuan snorted coldly. These people were not disciples of the Bai family, and many of them were subordinates of the Bai family. If the disciples of the Bai family were so useless, Bai Zhanyuan would definitely send them on their way personally. Speak. What kind of deal do you want to make with me? The ethereal voice came out from the forest again. I know where Tang Ao is, and I'm sure that Tang Ao only has the cultivation of the 9th floor of Ling Hai Jing. The voice in the forest did not continue. Bai Zhanyuan frowned. If you have anything to say, just say it. I don't have time to waste on you here. Good, as expected of the young master of the Bai family. I heard that you broke an ancient restriction through the blood sacrifice array and found tens of thousands of top-grade spirit stones under it. I'll tell you Tang Ao's approximate location in exchange for 1,000 top-grade spirit stones. When Bai Zhanyuan heard this, his expression turned cold. He had been extremely secretive about the blood sacrifice formation, but to think that others would still find out about it. However, Bai Zhanyuan did not say much. He merely said in a cold voice, "Seeing that you are so well informed, let me ask you a question. As long as it doesn't involve Tang Ao, you can ask anything you want," the voice in the forest said straightforwardly. Haha, what I want to ask is indeed about Tang Ao, but this question has nothing to do with Tang Ao's position. As Bai Zhanyuan said this, he tossed out a storage ring. However, before the storage ring landed on the ground, a light breeze swept past, and the storage ring disappeared. Bai Zhanyuan's gaze turned cold. Just now, he wanted to confirm the other party's location while he was taking the storage ring. But now that the other party had taken his storage ring away, Bai Zhanyuan still had no idea where the person in the forest was hiding. Tang Ao naturally did not know that his position had been exposed, nor did he know that almost 2/3 of the martial artists in the Netherworld Emperor Mystic Realm were frantically searching for his whereabouts. At this moment, Tang Ao was already on his way to find the Wind Thunder Dark Cloud. This Wind Thunder Dark Cloud was not in the Netherworld Emperor Mountain Range, but on the Dark Sea outside the Netherworld Emperor Mountain Range. Chapter 755. Tang Ao didn't know if there was a dark ocean in this world, but Tang Ao knew that this dark purple ocean was definitely not the ordinary dark ocean. As for what this ocean was called, no one knew. However, because this ocean was in the Underworld Emperor's secret realm, the people who came here to train called it the Dark Ocean. Senior brother, are you going to the Dark Ocean to look for opportunities? Come on my spirit boat. It's cheap, and you can use it once or for a month. While Tang Ao was still observing the Dark Ocean, a Sea of Souls Realm Level 3 warrior said enthusiastically to Tang Ao. Hearing his words, Tang Ao also curiously looked at the so-called spirit boat that this martial artist was talking about. Tang Ao saw that this so-called spirit boat was actually just a broken wooden board. It was just that there were some strange patterns on it, making it look a bit weird. However, this board was extremely huge. There were already 7 warriors standing on it, but it didn't seem to be crowded at all. Seeing Tang Ao's confused expression, the Sea of Souls Realm Level 3 warrior said, "Senior brother, this should be your first time coming to the Dark Ocean, right?" Tang Ao nodded. It was indeed his first time here. Originally, Tang Ao thought that the warriors in the snowfield already had a lot of opportunities. Because of the Spirit Tower, many of them had even broken through to the 6th level of the Sea of Souls realm and above. However, when Tang Ao arrived here, he realized that there were too many opportunities in the Underworld Emperor's secret realm. Even the weakest of the warriors near the Dark Ocean was at the Sea of Souls realm. Moreover, warriors above the 6th level of the Sea of Souls realm were not rare here. Tang Ao even saw 3 or 4 life and death realm warriors. No wonder Senior Brother is confused. This dark ocean can be said to be the number 1 treasure ground in the underworld Emperor's secret realm. The first batch of Senior Brothers who came here and survived were basically all life and death realm warriors in the past half a year. Tang Ao was slightly surprised. The Shinong historical remains had such a heaven-defying treasure like the spiritual pagoda, but it was only because of Murong Xiao, a powerhouse in the life and death realm. However, how terrifying was the Netherworld Sea? The first batch of warriors that came to the Netherworld Sea had all become life and death realm warriors. Seeing Tang Ao's expression change, the martial artist also smiled. In this Netherworld Sea, there's a strange item called the Netherstone. After absorbing and refining the Netherstone, it can increase a martial artist's spiritual and soul power, and at the same time, strengthen a martial artist's physical body. Most importantly, it could increase the strength of a martial artist's soul, not the strength of their soul power. The soul is the medium through which a martial artist enters the boundless world and communicates with a life soul. In the entire black-yellow continent, the means to increase the strength of the soul is rare. If Tang Ao was just slightly surprised before, then Tang Ao was a little shocked now. Even Tang Ao couldn't help but be shocked by a treasure that could increase the strength of one's soul condensation. Tang Ao knew of a few treasures that could strengthen the condensation of the soul, but those were all legendary items. And this Netherstone was right in front of him in the Netherworld Sea. Junior Brother, may I know how to obtain the Netherstone? As Tang Ao asked the question, he also handed over a jade bottle. This gray-robed martial artist had explained so much to Tang Ao, and Tang Ao had even asked him questions. Giving him a little reward was only right. Moreover, Tang Ao was now a peak 6th grade alchemist. As long as he had spiritual plants, Tang Ao could have as many pellets as he wanted. Chapter 756. Sure enough, after this warrior received the benefits from Tang Ao, he immediately became more enthusiastic. Senior Brother, my name is Chi Tian. The Netherworld Sea in front of him may not seem big, but it is actually boundless. There are stones like this in the Netherworld Sea, and they're called Netherworld stones. As Chi Tian spoke, he took out a light purple stone the size of a baby's fist. When Tang Ao took the light purple stone from Chi Tian's hand, his body felt comfortable. Even though Tang Ao was not cultivating, Tang Ao felt that as long as he held this stone, his cultivation would rise. Good stuff. After Tang Ao felt it for a while, he returned the Netherworld stone to Chi Tian. Tang Ao could feel that even if he could not refine it, this Netherworld stone was still being consumed by him. Tang Ao was not the kind of person who liked to take advantage of others. Therefore, after knowing that the Netherworld stone was extraordinary, Tang Ao immediately returned the Netherworld stone to Chi Tian. When Chi Tian saw Tang Ao like this, he could not help but look at Tang Ao a few more times. Chi Tian had already met many warriors who came into contact with the Netherworld stone for the first time. Most of them, after knowing that the Netherworld stone was extraordinary, even if they knew that the Netherworld stone was being consumed, they would still unconsciously feel it. Tang Ao was the first warrior who felt the Netherworld stone being consumed and immediately returned it to him. This Netherworld stone in my hand is only a low-grade Netherworld stone. In the Netherworld Sea, there are a total of 4 grades of Netherworld stones. The light purple ones are low-grade, the purple ones are middle-grade, the dark purple ones are high-grade, and the purple-black ones are top-grade. Chi Tian clearly knew what Tang Ao wanted to know the most, so he did not waste any time and introduced it to Tang Ao. While introducing it, Chi Tian also took out a purple Netherworld stone. This purple Netherworld stone was the middle-grade Netherworld stone that Chi Tian had just mentioned. However, this time, Tang Ao did not take the middle-grade Netherworld stone to feel it. Since he knew that this netherworld stone was extraordinary, Tang Ao only needed to know how to find it. Junior brother Chi, how do I find a nether stone? The underworld stones are distributed throughout the vast netherworld sea. The closer to the shore, the lower the grade of the underworld stone. The deeper into the netherworld sea, the higher the grade of the underworld stone. It was just that the netherworld sea was a bit special. Besides spirit boats, no martial artist could fly on the netherworld sea for a long time. Some weaker martial artists would only be able to fly for 3 to 5 breaths of time before falling into the netherworld sea. Moreover, this netherworld ocean is also extremely dangerous. Even life and death experts cannot stay in the netherworld ocean for more than 10 breaths of time. Otherwise, their vitality will dissipate and they will decay. After listening to Chi Tian's explanation, Tang Ao finally understood why no warrior crossed the netherworld sea. It turned out that it was impossible to fly above the netherworld sea. Moreover, the waters of the netherworld sea were also abnormally dangerous. Soon, Tang Ao realized that something was wrong. Even life and death realm martial artists could not fly on the netherworld sea. How could this seemingly broken wooden plank float on the netherworld sea? Junior brother Chi, could this spirit boat be some kind of treasure? Why is it that life and death experts cannot fly on the netherworld sea, but this spirit boat can cross the spiritual sea? In the past, a senior brother from my sect was also one of the first martial artists to reach the netherworld sea. After they reached the netherworld sea, they saw a treasure light shooting into the sky from the depths of the netherworld sea. They wanted to cross the netherworld sea to search for treasures. However, after a few people died in the netherworld sea, they also discovered that they could not fly in the netherworld sea. Just at this moment, they saw a giant ship anchored on the netherworld sea. After discovering that this ship could float on the netherworld sea, everyone tried to snatch it. This so-called spirit boat is just the plank of that giant ship. Chapter 757. Chi Tian, are you going or not? There's only one seat left. If worst comes to worst, I'll buy it. Hurry up and row the boat. While Chi Tian and Tang Ao were still talking, a black-faced man on Chi Tian's spirit boat shouted at Chi Tian on the shore. He was obviously a little impatient. Hearing the dark-faced man's words, Chi Tian hurriedly smiled apologetically. Senior brother Nyo, you're treating me like an outsider. Waiting for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn is an unwritten rule in the netherworld sea. Now that the time is up, I naturally have to leave. Chi Tian said to Tang Ao, Senior brother, there's an empty seat on the spirit boat. Do you want to try your luck with us? Tang Ao thought for a moment and declined Chi Tian's good intentions. Junior brother Chi Tian, I won't go. I'm going to walk around the netherworld sea. If I want to go out to sea, I'll come find you at any time. How much is the ticket? Chi Tian said so much to Tang Ao because he wanted Tang Ao to ride his spirit boat when he went out to sea in the future. Tang Ao could naturally see this. Hearing Tang Ao's words, Chi Tian was happy. A single trip is 1 low-grade underworld stone. A month is 20 low-grade underworld stones, or 2 mid-grade underworld stones. Tang Ao was shocked. In Tang Ao's opinion, this underworld stone was extremely difficult to find. Such a precious thing in front of tens of thousands of martial artists wouldn't be enough. However, Chi Tian could earn 7 to 8 underworld stones just by ferrying once. It seemed that ferrying a spirit boat was very profitable. Chi Tian seemed to know that Tang Ao had misunderstood. Before leaving, he said to Tang Ao, although I can earn 7 to 8 underworld stones every time I go out to sea, most of them are used to maintain the spirit boat. I can only earn 1 or 2 underworld stones every time I go out to sea. After Chi Tian said that, he cupped his fist to Tang Ao and stepped onto the spirit boat. Then, Chi Tian made several seals on the spirit boat. The spirit boat buzzed and moved forward. To be honest, Tang Ao still wanted to follow Chi Tian and the others to explore the sea. However, the netherworld sea was too strange. Before he could understand the netherworld sea, Tang Ao decided not to rashly go out to sea. With his current strength, he could only barely protect himself among the martial artists who came here to train. If he were to face off against the old monsters in the Netherworld Emperor's mystic realm, his meager strength would be insufficient. Back in the Emperor Yulong's ruins, if the Emperor Yulong hadn't tried to suppress him with his aura, Tang Ao might not have been able to walk out of the Emperor Yulong's ruins. Tang Ao suspected that the Netherworld Sea was where the Netherworld Arch had perished. Ming Di was the strongest of the 5 emperors. If he had left behind any tricks, Tang Ao would be in deep trouble if he didn't know what to do. After Qi Tian and the others left, Tang Ao wandered around the Netherworld Sea aimlessly. Even though the Netherworld Sea had been searched over and over again, there were still many weak martial artists who tried their luck there. They kept sweeping the Netherworld Sea with their soul power, trying to find the Nether Stone in the Netherworld Sea. However, because the edge of the Netherworld Sea had been searched thoroughly, even though there were still Netherworld stones by the Netherworld Sea, there were very few of them. Tang Ao also tried to use his soul power to sweep the Netherworld Sea. As soon as his soul power entered the Netherworld Sea, Tang Ao felt as though his soul power was blocked by something. Following that, his soul power slowed down. Chapter 758. Tang Ao searched for a long time at the edge of the Netherworld Sea, but he still didn't find a single Netherstone. At this moment, there were at least 800 to 1,000 martial artists searching for the Netherworld Stone. With these martial artists searching day and night, it was really difficult to find the Netherworld Stone at the edge of the Netherworld Sea. When Tang Ao scanned the area with his soul power again, a purple Netherworld Stone immediately appeared in Tang Ao's perception. However, this Netherworld Stone was obviously discovered by someone else first. A skinny girl wearing green clothes and a black-clothed martial artist with a gloomy expression both flew towards the location of this Netherworld Stone. Tang Ao could see that this Netherworld Stone was first discovered by the girl in green clothes, and the black-clothed martial artist only discovered it after he saw where the girl in green clothes attacked. Even so, the black-clothed martial artist didn't think that this Netherworld Stone belonged to the girl in green clothes. He, Ouyang Chun, had been at the edge of the Netherworld Sea for a long time. The Netherworld Stone that he wanted, not to mention that the other party hadn't obtained it yet. Even if the other party obtained it, she could only obediently hand it over. With a plop sound, the green-clothed girl jumped into the Netherworld Sea and grabbed the purple Netherworld Stone. However, without waiting for the green-clothed girl to put the Underworld Stone into the storage ring, Ouyang Chun snatched the profound stone from the green-clothed girl's hand, and then sent the green-clothed girl flying with a palm strike. She was about to fall into the Underworld Sea. Falling into the Netherworld Sea from such a far place, the girl in green clothes definitely wouldn't be able to escape within 10 breaths. Seeing that she was continuously flying and unable to control her body, the girl in green clothes forgot the pain of her broken ribs, and her pretty face was filled with despair. With her cultivation, if she fell into the Netherworld Sea in this kind of situation, there would be no chance of survival. The strong desire to live made the girl in green clothes want to stabilize her body, but she was only at the first level of the Spirit Sea realm, while Ouyang Chun was on the 7th floor of Linghai Jing. The difference between the two was really too big. Swoosh, a golden light flashed, and Luo Tianyi didn't feel the bone-chilling Netherworld Sea water. Instead, she felt a warm current nourishing her body. Her broken ribs were also recovering, and the pain in her body was gradually decreasing. Luo Tianyi opened her eyes nervously and saw Tang Ao carrying her back to the shore. After flying back to the shore, Luo Tianyi panicked. She hurriedly said to Tang Ao, "This senior brother, we have to run quickly." That person is Ouyang Chun of the Ouyang aristocrat clan. As Luo Tianyi spoke, she wanted to pull Tang Ao away. But before Luo Tianyi could move, Ouyang Chun stood in front of her and Tang Ao. "Good lad, you've got guts. You even dare to meddle in my, Ouyang Chun's business." when Tang Ao suddenly saved Luo Tianyi, who was about to fall into the Netherworld Sea. Ouyang Chun was shocked by Tang Ao. But now that Ouyang Chun took a closer look, he realized that Tang Ao's strength was only at the 5th floor of Linghai Jing. The 5th floor of Linghai Jing was considered not bad at the edge of the Netherworld Sea. But compared to Ouyang Chun, it was a far cry. Hand over this junior sister's nether stone and scram. Tang Ao couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with scum like Ouyang Chun. The reason why Tang Ao saved Luo Tianyi was because Luo Tianyi's appearance was 70% to 80% similar to Enruosu, who had saved him in his previous life. Especially those eyes, which seemed to be able to speak, were extremely similar to Enruosu. Therefore, Tang Ao felt that Luo Tianyi was most likely Enruosu's descendant. Chapter 759. Ha ha. I have been in the Netherworld Sea for 3 months, but I have never seen such an arrogant person. Ouyang Chun immediately burst into laughter when he heard Yixin's words. People kept coming over. Although everyone was busy looking for the Underworld Stone, they wouldn't miss a good show. Senior Ouyang, I don't want that mid-grade Underworld Stone anymore. I still have 3 low-grade Dark Stones on me. I'll give them to you too. Can you let us go? Although Luo Tianyi was shocked by Tang Ao's words, Luo Tianyi didn't think that Tang Ao from the 5th floor of Linghai Jing would be a match for Ouyang Chun from the 7th floor of Linghai Jing. Ouyang Chun wasn't an ordinary 7th floor of Linghai Jing. Not long ago, a warrior from the 9th floor of Linghai Jing had died in the hands of Ouyang Chun. Hence, Ouyang Chun's fearsome name was still very intimidating. If you had been so tactful just now, I could have considered giving you a way out. Now, of course, I can give you a way out too. Hee. As Ouyang Chun spoke, he glanced unceremoniously at Luo Tianyi's full breasts. There was an indescribable look in his eyes. When the onlookers saw that Tang Ao and Luo Tianyi had been stopped by Ouyang Chun, they all looked at Tang Ao and Luo Tianyi with sympathy. Unlike other warriors, Ouyang Chun had always been active around the Netherworld Sea. As long as he didn't fight with Ouyang Chun over the Underworld Stone that he had his eyes on, everything would be fine. As for whether you were the one who discovered the Underworld Stone first, that wasn't important. However, if someone insisted on snatching it from Ouyang Chun, then the person who snatched it would be dead. I don't want to repeat what I said before. While everyone was looking at Tang Ao with sympathy, Tang Ao actually said such a thing. Tang Ao had just asked Ouyang Chun to hand over the Darkstone and scram. Now, the meaning of Tang Ao's words was self-evident. The crowd did not understand why Tang Ao, a martial artist from the 5th floor of Linghai Jing, had such courage. However, none of them were in a good mood. They all looked at Tang Ao curiously. Bastard, do you think that the 5th floor of Linghai Jing is invincible? Since you are in a hurry to die, I will fulfill your wish. As for this little girl, when I am done, I will throw her into the Netherworld Sea to accompany you. As Ouyang Chun spoke, a huge Yuan Chi palm print slapped toward Tang Ao. Facing Ouyang Chun's Yuan Chi palm print, Luo Tianyi, who was beside Tang Ao, felt a little suffocated. She couldn't even take out her spirit weapon to fight alongside Tang Ao. Luo Tianyi had just broken through to the 1st level of the Sea of Soul's realm. Compared to Ouyang Chun on the 7th floor of Linghai Jing, she was too weak. However, this suffocating feeling did not last for long on Luo Tianyi's body. As Tang Ao's spirit power shook, the suffocating feeling on Luo Tianyi's body instantly disappeared. Then, the crowd saw Tang Ao kick out. Ouyang Chun's powerful Yuan Chi palm print was easily shattered by Tang Ao's kick. At the same time, Tang Ao stepped on Ouyang Chun's face. In just one round, Tang Ao had ended the battle. Because the battle ended too quickly, many people did not even have time to react. Ouyang Chun's heart sank. He knew that he had kicked an iron plate this time. This brat was not from the 5th floor of Linghai Jing. He was at least a 2nd level life and Death Realm warrior. His big brother, Ouyang Jun, was a 1st level life and Death Realm warrior, but even his big brother could not defeat him in one move. However, although Ouyang Chun was being stepped on by Tang Ao, Ouyang Chun was not worried at all. Chapter 760. The surrounding people naturally heard Ouyang Chun's words as well. At the same time, they knew that Ouyang Chun was right. The Ouyang family was one of the 6 great families of the ancient desolate era, and they were extremely powerful. Tang Ao was an unfamiliar face, and he did not come from any great power. Therefore, even though Tang Ao had Ouyang Chun under control, no one thought that Tang Ao would dare to do anything to Ouyang Chun. These are your last words? They are rather short. As Tang Ao finished speaking, the spirit energy on his feet suddenly shook, and Ouyang Chun's head exploded like a watermelon. Seeing this scene, everyone knew that Tang Ao was finished. Although this was the Underworld Emperor's secret realm, Ouyang Chun was not the only one in the Ouyang family. Besides Ouyang Chun, Ouyang Chun's big brother, Ouyang Jun, was also here, and he was also a life and death realm warrior. Including Ouyang Jun, the Ouyang family had a total of 3 life and death realm warriors. Although Ouyang Chun had said that Tang Ao was a life and death realm warrior, the onlookers could see clearly. Ouyang Chun was scared by Tang Ao, so he mistakenly thought that Tang Ao was a life and death realm warrior. However, the surrounding people could clearly feel that although Tang Ao was powerful, the spirit energy fluctuation on Tang Ao's body was undoubtedly that of a Sea of Souls realm warrior. A Sea of Souls realm warrior being able to crush Ouyang Chun was already quite good. If Tang Ao could advance to the life and death realm, he might even have the ability to compete with the other 3 life and death realm warriors of the Ouyang family. However, no matter how powerful a Sea of Souls realm warrior was, it was still not enough in front of a life and death realm warrior. Although it was rumored that Ouyang Chun had killed a life and death realm martial artist, the life and death realm martial artist that Ouyang Chun had killed had already been seriously injured. Coupled with Ouyang Chun's sneak attack, the life and death realm martial artist had died at Ouyang Chun's hands. After killing Ouyang Chun, Tang Ao did not hesitate to take Ouyang Chun's storage ring. Then, under everyone's shocked gazes, he took Luo Tianyi and left. After Tang Ao and Luo Tianyi had left, Luo Tianyi was a bit nervous and said to Tang Ao, "Senior brother, thank you for saving me, but you should run now. Although you're not a match for the Ouyang family, with your cultivation, if you run now, you should be able to escape from the Ouyang family." Tang Ao did not talk about this topic with Luo Tianyi. Instead, he looked into Luo Tianyi's eyes and asked, "My name is Tang Ao, what is your name?" Luo Tianyi was a bit scared by Tang Ao's gaze. Could it be that Tang Ao wanted to do that to her before he escaped? Although Tang Ao had saved her, this request was too much. If Tang Ao really dared to do that to her, she could only choose to kill herself. "My name is Luo Tianyi. Your surname is Luo?" "Noddin." Tang Ao had originally thought that Luo Tianyi was Enruosu's descendant. In the place where Enruosu lived, according to the customs, the children of the next generation would follow their mother's surname. Tang Ao shook his head after saying this. When Enruosu died, she was still a virgin. How could she have descendants? But then, Tang Ao thought of something else. If he could reincarnate, why couldn't a good person like Enruosu? If Luo Tianyi's appearance was only 70% to 80% similar to Enruosu's, then Luo Tianyi's watery eyes were exactly the same as Enruosu's. "Junior sister Luo, you look very similar to an old friend of mine." Tang Ao did not say that Luo Tianyi was very likely Enruosu's reincarnation. It was just that Enruosu's memories had disappeared. Luo Tianyi was wondering why Tang Ao kept staring at her. So this was the reason. After understanding this, Luo Tianyi smiled. "Senior brother Tang Ao, can I see the image of this old friend of yours?" Chapter 761. Looking at the image in Tang Ao's hand. If Luo Tianyi hadn't known that she was the only daughter of her family, she would have thought that the woman in the image was her sister. The person in the image looked 70% to 80% similar to her, and her eyes were exactly the same as her own. Senior brother Tang Ao. What is the name of this sister? Tang Ao's long thoughts were pulled back to reality by Luo Tianyi. Looking at the image of Enruo Su, Tang Ao's eyes also revealed a touch of gentleness. Her name is Enruo Su, and she is a kind person. Luo Tianyi's heart shook when she heard Tang Ao's words. This was because she had a dream more than once. In her dream, she was called Enruo Su. Moreover, in her dream, she was constantly refining elixirs. However, those elixirs were too shocking. They were all elixirs of grade 7 and above. In her dream, there was also a man beside her. However, the man's face was a little blurry. Tang Ao didn't notice the change in Luo Tianyi's expression. Instead, he casually walked away with Luo Tianyi. However, Luo Tianyi asked Tang Ao in a low voice, "Senior brother Tang Ao, can you tell me about Enruo's sister?" Luo Tianyi had cultivated for a long time, so she naturally knew about reincarnation. Moreover, Luo Tianyi also wondered if she was the reincarnation of Enruo Su. That was why she had dreamt of some fragments of her previous life. However, this matter was too shocking for Luo Tianyi. Moreover, if she really was the reincarnation of Enruo Su, then she and Enruo Su were the same person. It would be a little awkward to call Enruo Su sister. Luo Tianyi was also curious about the relationship between Tang Ao and Enruo Su. Or was it that Tang Ao was the vague figure in her dream? However, Luo Tianyi felt that it didn't seem like it. Although the figure she saw in her dream was blurry, it was filled with murderous intent that made people shudder. However, Tang Ao and Luo Tianyi didn't feel any killing intent at all. Junior sister Enruo Su saved my life and is one of the top alchemists in the Black-Yellow continent. The more Tang Ao looked into Luo Tianyi's eyes, the more he felt that the Luo Tianyi in front of him was Enruo Su from back then. Tang Ao didn't have a lover in his previous life, and he ended up lonely. And the one who had the deepest entanglement with Tang Ao was Enruo Su. Before Tang Ao died, Enruo Su's figure was the only one in front of him. Tang Ao told Luo Tianyi about how he got injured in his previous life, how he left Enruo Su, and what happened after that. Because these things were too unbelievable, Tang Ao thought that Luo Tianyi wouldn't believe him. However, when Tang Ao looked at Luo Tianyi with a self-deprecating smile, Luo Tianyi suddenly raised her hand and slapped Tang Ao in the face. Tang Ao was stunned, and his murderous intent unconsciously spread out. Luo Tianyi was frightened by Tang Ao's murderous intent. She hurriedly took a step back and raised her hands to cover her face. At the same time, she whispered, "Senior brother Tang Ao, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Don't hit me. I hit you on behalf of Sister Enruo Su." Although Luo Tianyi said this, she didn't think so at all. At this moment, Luo Tianyi was very sure that she was Enruo Su's reincarnation, because the details that Tang Ao told her were almost exactly the same as the scene in her dream. Luo Tianyi hadn't told anyone about these things in her dream. Therefore, in Luo Tianyi's opinion, she had been let down by Tang Ao in her previous life. In this atmosphere, Luo Tianyi didn't hesitate to slap Tang Ao in the face. Chapter 762. Luo Tianyi was shocked by Tang Ao's sudden action, but she quickly recovered. Her petite figure naturally broke free from Tang Ao's clutches easily. After breaking free from Tang Ao's clutches, Luo Tianyi looked at Tang Ao angrily and said, "Senior brother Tang Ao, men and women should not touch each other. What if I can't get married in the future?" Although Luo Tianyi now believed that she was really Enruo Su's reincarnation, Luo Tianyi still didn't want Tang Ao to know. Even if Tang Ao had entangled with her in her previous life, the two of them had only just met in this life. Even if she had a good impression of Tang Ao, her relationship with Tang Ao had clearly not developed to that stage. "Junior sister Luo, I'm sorry. I was rude. You don't have the memories of your previous life? Or maybe you're not her at all." "Who said I'm not her?" After saying that, Luo Tianyi hurriedly covered her small mouth, afraid that she would accidentally spill the beans. Immediately, Luo Tianyi also felt relieved. Tang Ao had killed Ouyang Chun, so the three life and death realm warriors of the Ouyang clan would definitely chase Tang Ao and her to death. To be able to find out about one's previous life and meet an old friend from one's previous life before dying could be considered a kind of luck. Senior brother Tang Ao, you can call me in Ruosu. We were able to meet in our previous life, and we can meet again in this life. Who knows, we might even meet again in our next life. Tang Ao was confused by Luo Tianyi. Although he didn't understand what Luo Tianyi was thinking, Tang Ao still called out Susu, Amisham, and Ruosa nodded lightly and even took the initiative to hold Tang Ao's arm. Senior brother Tang Ao, we're going to die right after we reunited. It's such a pity. Listening to Ruosu's crisp and soft voice, as well as her somewhat youthful face, Tang Ao understood why Ruosu only looked 70% to 80% similar to her in his previous life. Junior apprentice sister, and I know why you only look 70 to 80% like you did in your previous life. Why? And Ruosu asked curiously. Because in this life, you are still a young girl, budding and waiting to bloom. When I met you in my previous life, you were already a famous beauty. Tang Ao's words made Ruosu blush. However, Tang Ao was right, and Ruosu was indeed young. However, and Ruosu quickly turned to look at Tang Ao. Senior brother Tang Ao, you're not that old either. Tang Ao smiled. When he met Ruosu in his previous life, he was already invincible and had killed countless demon lords. In this life, he only had the appearance of a young man. Compared to Ruosu, who looked like a young girl, they were quite compatible. By the way, Susu, you said that we're going to die soon. What's going on? And Ruosa looked at Tang Ao suspiciously. However, Tang Ao didn't look like he was joking at all. Could it be that Tang Ao really didn't know that the Ouyang clan still had 3 life and death realm warriors near the Nethersea? Senior brother Tang Ao, the Ouyang clan still has 3 life and death realm warriors near the Nethersea. You killed Ouyang Chun, so they should be coming to find us soon. Tang Ao thought it was something serious. He hadn't expected it to be such a small matter. Let them come, then. Ouyang Chun has 2 few understones on him. It's not enough. Hearing Tang Ao's words, and Ruosu pursed her lips. Senior brother Tang Ao, have you forgotten that you are no longer the invincible demon lord? Chapter 763. And Ruosa looked at Tang Ao's confident expression and couldn't help but shake her head. Senior brother Tang Ao, why don't we go and hide? And Ruosu's face lit up. She then patted her head and said, I almost forgot. The 3 life and death realm powerhouses of the Ouyang family have all gone to the depths of the Netherworld Sea. If we leave now, the Netherworld Emperor Mystic Realm is so big, they definitely won't be able to find us. Tang Ao was speechless. Couldn't Ruosu have some confidence in him? Although Ruosu had been quiet and beautiful in his previous life, she had given off a cold vibe. In this life, Ruosu was still a young girl. She was a lot more lively and playful. Susu, can't you have some confidence in me? Could senior brother Tang Ao also be a life and death realm powerhouse? Upon hearing Tang Ao's words, and Ruosu's eyes lit up as she looked at Tang Ao. I'm almost there. Under Ruosu's expectant gaze, Tang Ao felt a little embarrassed. Although Tang Ao now had the strength to fight an ordinary life and death realm powerhouse, Tang Ao's cultivation was only at the peak of the 9th floor of Linghai Jing. After hearing Tang Ao's words, and Ruosu rolled her eyes at Tang Ao. That's it then. You haven't broken through to the life and death realm, and my cultivation is so low. Once the 3 life and death realm powerhouses of the Ouyang family return, we won't be able to leave even if we want to. At least you know your limits. And Ruosu had just finished speaking when a cold voice came down from the sky. Upon hearing this voice, and Ruosu looked up in horror and saw Ouyang Du and Midair. Senior brother Tang Ao, let's go. It's Ouyang Du from the Ouyang family. Do you think you can leave? Ouyang Du's aura spread out. The aura of a first-stage life and death realm powerhouse was revealed. In an instant, all the warriors on the edge of the Netherworld Sea were attracted to Ouyang Du at the same time. Everyone followed Ouyang Du's gaze and saw a man and a woman. Of course, everyone knew this man and woman. The man was Tang Ao, who had killed Ouyang Chen not long ago, and the woman was Luo Tianyi, who had been picking up leftovers by the Netherworld Sea. Tang Ao patted Enruosu and gave her a reassuring smile. Then, he walked over to Enruosu. Seeing the heartwarming smile on Tang Ao's face, Enruosu's maiden heart thumped wildly. No wonder she had been let down by this guy in her past life. He really was special. However, when she thought that she and Tang Ao were about to face a life and death realm powerhouse, Enruosu's pretty face turned bitter again. You killed Ouyang Chen? Do you know what kind of price you have to pay for killing someone from the Ouyang clan? Ouyang Du's figure slowly descended as a vast and majestic aura spread out from his body. When Tang Ao saw Ouyang Du's appearance, he couldn't help but shake his head. The aura of a life and death realm warrior was indeed much stronger than that of a spirit sea realm warrior. However, Ouyang Du was clearly deliberately using his spiritual power to stimulate his aura, creating the illusion of a mountain. If it were an ordinary spirit sea realm warrior, they might not even have the courage to step forward after feeling Ouyang Du's aura. Many of the surrounding warriors felt the powerful aura emitted from Ouyang Du's body and subconsciously took a few steps back, afraid that Ouyang Du's attack would be too fierce and accidentally injure them. At the same time, everyone looked at Tang Ao and Enruosu sympathetically. Although it was reasonable for the two of them to kill Ouyang Chen, this was not a reasonable world. However, this was not a reasonable world. Whoever's fist was bigger was the one who was reasonable. If you want to fight, then fight. Why are you talking so much nonsense? As Tang Ao spoke, a golden light flashed on his body. The Battle Sage Bone Life Soul was instantly activated, and he punched at Ouyang Du. Chapter 764. Seeing that Tang Ao actually chose to fight Ouyang Du head-on, many people shook their heads. They had seen Tang Ao's strength before. Although Tang Ao was not as powerful as Ouyang Du, Tang Ao was still one of the top C of Soul's Realm warriors. If Tang Ao chose to fight Ouyang Du, then even if Tang Ao was not Ouyang Du's opponent, he could still delay him long enough for his companions to escape. If he was lucky, Tang Ao could even escape. Sigh. What a pity. A sigh came from behind the crowd. Everyone immediately turned around and saw a young man dressed in white holding a long sword in his hand. It's you, Man Kong, young master you. Seeing this person, someone in the crowd exclaimed. And Ruosu also heard Yu Man Kong's name and hurriedly squeezed in front of him. Senior brother Yu, please save my senior brother. Sigh. Your senior brother's spirit power is very condensed. If he could break through to the life and death realm, Ouyang Du would definitely not be his opponent. I'm afraid even I can't save him now. Senior brother Yu, I beg you. Seeing that Tang Ao was in danger, and Ruosu could not care about anything else. But this time, before Yu Man Kong could say anything, a dull thud came from afar. Then, the familiar scene appeared again. Tang Ao stepped on Ouyang Du's face, while Ouyang Du looked at Tang Ao in disbelief. Tang Ao was also a bit confused. Judging from his aura, this Ouyang Du was already at the peak of the first level of the Blood Dipper realm. Originally, Tang Ao thought that he would have to spend a lot of effort to take him down. But what Tang Ao did not expect was that this Ouyang Du was like a bag of grass on a pillow. Just now, Tang Ao had destroyed Ouyang Du's layers of palm shadows with a single punch. Then, Tang Ao took advantage of the situation and stepped on Ouyang Du. Everyone's jaws dropped. How long had it been? Ouyang Du was actually defeated. Since when did life and death realm warriors become so trash? Or was Tang Ao simply pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? Tang Ao himself was a very powerful life and death realm martial artist. Although this guess was not very reliable, it seemed very reasonable. This Tang Ao might not necessarily be a life and death realm warrior. He is just pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger. A warrior voiced out everyone's thoughts, but I just saw the spirit power fluctuation on his body. He is indeed only at the Sea of Soul Realm. The warrior didn't continue. It was not that Sea of Soul Realm warriors had never defeated life and death realm warriors. However, a Sea of Soul Realm warrior crushing a life and death realm warrior had never happened in the Black-Yellow continent. On the other hand, Sea of Soul Realm warriors were often crushed by life and death realm warriors. Senior Brother Ao, did you win? And Ruosu ran to Tang Ao in disbelief and looked at Ao. Do you want me to lose? Tang Ao looked at Ruosu's delicate face and teased. No. Of course, I want Senior Brother Tang Ao to win. I just didn't expect Senior Brother Tang Ao to be so powerful. And Ruosu had just finished speaking when she felt her body become light. She was carried up by Tang Ao. At the same time, 3 jet black bone eroding nails flew toward Tang Ao and Xia Qinyu. Under these 3 bone eroding nails, Ouyang Du looked at Tang Ao with a sinister smile. Tang Ao had humiliated him so much today. Only by killing Tang Ao could he appease his anger. He admitted that Tang Ao was more powerful than him, but Tang Ao dared to face the bone-eroding nails head-on. He was simply courting death, looking at the approaching bone-eroding nails, and Ruosu's pretty face turned pale. Before the bone-eroding nails could get close, an ancient square cauldron appeared in front of Tang Ao and Ruosu. Chapter 765. Kacha! Kacha! The sound of bones breaking rang out. Being smashed by the farmer god cauldron, Ouyang Du's aura instantly weakened. However, Tang Ao knew that although Ouyang Du had been smashed by the farmer god cauldron, he wasn't dead yet. Tang Ao waved his hand and received the farmer god cauldron. He then coldly looked at Ouyang Du. If he didn't have the farmer god cauldron to protect him, he would have fallen into Ouyang Du's trap. Ouyang clan indeed couldn't be underestimated. No matter how powerful they were, their methods were definitely sinister. Seeing Tang Ao closing in on him, Ouyang Du became afraid. You can't kill me. I'm from Ouyang clan. If you kill me, you and Ouyang clan will become mortal enemies. Ouyang clan isn't something you can afford to offend. Ever since I started cultivating, I've never offended Ouyang clan. On the contrary, Ouyang clan has always been at odds with me. Today, I, Tang Ao, am also someone your Ouyang clan can't afford to offend. After speaking, Tang Ao casually slashed out with sword chi. Ouyang Du's soul was shredded into pieces by Tang Ao's sharp sword chi. The battle between Tang Ao and Ouyang Du happened so quickly that the spectators couldn't react. However, Tang Ao became the topic of discussion for a period of time. In just a day, he had killed 2 people from Ouyang clan. Originally, everyone thought that Tang Ao was already a dead man under the pursuit of Ouyang clan. But now, it seemed that they had overestimated Ouyang clan and underestimated Tang Ao. After Tang Ao killed Ouyang Du, Yumankong had already quietly retreated. Compared to others, his information was much more flexible. Not long ago, he heard that there was a powerful Sea of Soul Realm warrior in Underworld Emperor Mountain called Tang Ao. He also heard that Tang Ao had the primordial sacred sky bow and supreme, clear, mysterious mirror. At first, Yumankong snorted disdainfully at this matter. In his opinion, what ability did a Sea of Soul Realm warrior have to obtain these treasures? However, Yumankong discovered that Tang Ao seemed to really possess the strength to do so. It was just that Ouyang Du was too useless in this battle. From the beginning to the end, Tang Ao did not take out the primordial sacred heavenly bow and the Tai Ching mysterious mirror to fight. That's not right. Yumankong thought of something else. Other than the primordial sacred heavenly bow and the supreme, clear mystic mirror, There's also a rumor that Tang Ao also had the Shinnong cauldron that belonged to the Shinnong Emperor. Wasn't the cauldron that Tang Ao took out just now the Shinnong cauldron? At the thought of this, Yuman Kong's eyes lit up. From Tang Ao's previous attack, Yuman Kong was sure that Tang Ao was only at the Sea of Soul Realm, and not at the Life and Death Realm. Although the density of Tang Ao's spiritual power was comparable to that of most first-level Life and Death Realm martial artists, it might even be stronger. However, Tang Ao was indeed only at the Sea of Soul Realm. It was just that Tang Ao's true strength seemed to have reached the peak of the first-level Life and Death Realm. Although Ouyang Du was also at the peak of the first-level Life and Death Realm, in Yuman Kong's opinion, his strength was far inferior to some peak Sea of Soul Realm martial artists. Clearly, he had relied on elixirs to forcefully increase his strength. After looking at Tang Ao for a while longer, Yuman Kong decided to find some helpers. It was not easy before, but now, Ouyang clan would definitely be willing to join hands with him. Chapter 766. And Ruosu naturally agreed to Tang Ao's suggestion. Although she still wanted to leave, she knew that this was probably the greatest opportunity in the entire Underworld Emperor Mystic Realm. If she and Tang Ao left this place, it would be difficult to find such a good place in the Underworld Emperor Mystic Realm. When Tang Ao and Ruosu arrived at the Netherworld Sea again, they didn't meet Chi Tian. Originally, Tang Ao was going to take Chi Tian's spirit boat out to sea, but since Chi Tian wasn't there, Tang Ao could only take someone else's spirit boat. However, when Tang Ao was about to walk to a spirit boat carrying 6 people, he saw a warrior selling a spirit boat. It was a yellow-haired young man. He was a little thin, but his eyes were extremely sharp. "Friend, how much is this spirit boat?" Tang Ao felt that since they couldn't stay in the Netherworld Sea for a long time, it was naturally best to have a spirit boat. "You can't afford it. Get lost." The yellow-haired young man glanced at Tang Ao. When he saw that both Tang Ao and Ruosu were at the Spirit Sea realm, his tone was a little cold. "You haven't told us the price yet. How do you know we can't afford it?" And Ruosu didn't like the yellow-haired young man's attitude. But if she and Tang Ao really wanted to search for the Netherstone in the Netherworld Sea for a long time, they needed a spirit boat. Otherwise, she would have persuaded Tang Ao to leave. Hearing in Ruosu's words, the yellow-haired young man sneered. "Do you have 10 bottles of 5th-grade pills? If you don't, get lost. Here you go." Without waiting for Tang Ao to speak, and Ruosu raised her hand and threw 10 bottles of pills over. This time, it was Tang Ao's turn to be surprised. Tang Ao naturally had these pills because Tang Ao had already become a 6th-grade alchemist. However, Tang Ao immediately felt relieved, and Ruosu was an 8th-grade alchemist in her previous life, so it was only natural that she would become a 5th-grade alchemist in this life. The yellow-haired youth didn't expect that the 2 spiritual sea realm martial artists in front of him would actually have the fantasy-breaking pill. He didn't say anything and directly put away the fantasy-breaking pill. Then, the yellow-haired youth glanced at Tang Ao and said, "I'm going to use the spirit boat to go out to sea. You can follow me. Once I reach my destination, the spirit boat will belong to you. Of course, if you don't dare to come, I won't refund the pills." Tang Ao didn't like the yellow-haired youth's words. Although this yellow-haired young man had hidden his cultivation, Tang Ao could still recognize that he was a 3rd-stage life and death realm warrior. If it were just Tang Ao alone, then Tang Ao would definitely agree without any hesitation. This was because Tang Ao was not afraid that the yellow-haired youth would play any tricks. However, now that Ruosu was with them, Tang Ao was worried that he would not be able to ensure her safety. And Ruosu seemed to see the worry in Tang Ao's eyes. She whispered to Tang Ao, "Senior brother Tang Ao, I will go wherever you go." Tang Ao nodded, then said to the yellow-haired youth, "Let's go." "Hee, interesting." The yellow-haired youth looked at Tang Ao and laughed. Then he stepped into the void and landed on his spirit boat. Although his speed was fast, When he landed on the spirit boat, the yellow-haired youth was like a feather. Even the calm surface of the sea didn't have a single ripple. Tang-Ao also picked up Nrosu and leaped onto the spirit boat. However, Tang-Ao didn't deliberately hide his figure. His body stepped heavily on the spirit boat. If it weren't for the special material of the spirit boat, Tang-Ao's step would have shattered the spirit boat. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.